Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Casting Roles, a D&D campaign run by a bunch of theater nerds. I'm Josh, your DM, and thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to go ahead and start out with introductions from our cast. So, if we want to start out with Grace, you want to tell us who you are and who you're playing?
I'm Grace. I'm going to be playing Marlowe Abiorn, who's a blood hunter.
Sweet. And Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm playing a bard named Wash Biord.
This is a very serious game. And what race has he been?
Oh, he's a dragonborn.
Dragonborn bard, sweet. Ronnie.
I am Ronnie. I'm theater adjacent, not a real theater nerd, but I will be playing a human artificer named Abel Abioye.
Sweet. Atwood.
Hi, my name's Atwood. I'll be playing Kaimana Ka Alkai, Lutrinin, I think that's how you pronounce it, druid.
I gotta write this stuff down.
Nice. And Rob.
1 second.
Rob, we lost your audio.
This mic's just not in front of his face.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Atwood. Atwood worked with me enough in my other game to know how my system works. I am playing Saurus. He is a monk, and his race is interesting.
We'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil the reveal for everybody else.
Good. All right. So before we begin in our first episode, you can go ahead and find us on Twitter at Casting Roles. So if you want to follow us over there for latest updates and information, and we'll be expanding our social media presence in the coming weeks as we continue to build up the channel. But if everyone is ready to begin, we're going to go ahead and jump in for the very first episode of Casting Roles. Welcome to Alyria, a land once graced by the blessings of the Nine Gods, who brought order from the chaos of the Void, and now stand as the sole remaining beacon of life and hope in a world consumed by darkness. Beyond the rolling grasslands of the Highlands Valley and the azure twinkling waves of the Tranquil Bay, past the clanging forges in Eldritch Peak and the shining halls of the capital of Anervir, this land once filled with endless promise and bountiful magic is ringed by a seething veil of shadow. 300 years ago, this veil descended on the Prime Plane and spread across the world, engulfing the great continents and societies of the Age of Anor. From its cloud of creeping destruction, monstrosities and fiends tore across the lands, and war raged as the Eight fought against one of their own fallen brethren. The earth was shattered by earthquakes and the rise of towering volcanoes. The seas grew tumultuous and the skies raged with the winds of their battle. The entire world was reshaped by what has since come to be known as the Subversion. But our story begins with these cataclysmic battles and world-changing events in the distant past. In the year 325, in the riverlands of Alyria, converging destinies will bring 6 separate adventurers together. Here in the heartland of the realm, far from the Vale and its constant worry and threat, a traveler is approaching the town of Broadfield. Once just a farming town, a ramshackle smattering of small cottages, an outpost for the watchmen to provide law and order, a palisade, and an open central mall for farmers to sell their wares, it's recently sprung into the consciousness of the realm as the birthplace of a proposed adventurers' guild. A new mayor has brought a sense of grandiosity to the sleepy hamlet, and large ornate buildings and even an aerodrome are being constructed in what is now, as the new archway over the town entrance proclaims, the crossroads of Alyria. The news of this new guild has spread far and wide, and on this day, on the streets of Broadfield, a festival is being held to commemorate the founding of this guild. Approaching the outer gate, many of the local farmhands and townsfolk from nearby settlements are coming into the sound of music and laughter, but one lone traveler stands apart. Grace. Go ahead and bring Marlowe into this story.
Okay, so you want me to describe
Sure,
her?
go ahead and describe what we
Okay.
see. Yeah.
So she is a half-elven woman. She's probably about 5'10", very thin, wiry build. She wears a lot of brown and black leathers, specifically like this really big long overcoat that has like cap sleeves exposing these like tan arms with tons of like really little specific circular scars all over them. And she's got like a big Western hat, kind of like really low on the face, a red cowl pulled up very high on the face as well. And she wears a like a brass knuckle ring, very specifically on her left hand.
Nice. So as
Mhm.
Marlo is heading into this scene, she's being passed by, laughing and jovial farm hands and workers from local fields and townspeople, and you're approaching the central gate of the city, and it is this beautiful archway that has been handcrafted and hand signed, and it does say the Crossroads of Alyria, and it's odd because this is a brand new construction in what was once an ancient palisade of just simple, tall stakes of wood in the ground, kind of pointed at the top. But everyone's kind of streaming into the city and passing you by, and they are definitely in jovial spirits.
Okay, you can do this. You talked to like what, 5 people last year? That was a record, maybe. You can do this. You got this. It's good. I'm gonna try to see if I can find a front desk.
Okay, so you cross into the city, and there is nearby. The whole front street or the front main thoroughfare of the city is kind of lined with little, pop-up little shops and, what look like carnival games and things like that. It's definitely for a festival, but there is very close to the entrance a sign that says "Adventurers, information here."
Cool. I'll go there.
All right, and so you approach, and it's not a front desk, but there's
Oh, no.
kind of a barrel, and this jovial woman is standing behind it, and she's kind of waving at people as they pass. But there's not a lot of people going to speak to her. Everyone kind of seems interested off with the shops and the things. So you would be the only one approaching this area.
Okay. I go over.
All right, and so she kind of sees you coming, and she says, "Hi there, miss. You coming to get information about the Adventures Guild?"
uh, yep. Yep. That. Yes.
You want to join? Is that, or you just want to
Yeah.
information
Yeah.
about it?
No, I do think I want to join. Yes.
So she says, well, that they are taking up sign-ups at the Gilded Ass Tavern at the center of town. You can find the mayor is running the sign-ups. His name is Roland Longbranch. And he's there, and you will be able to sign up and all of those things. And as long as you've got your team ready to go, you will be able to get into the running to be a member of the Adventures Guild.
Team.
Well, yes, of course. It's a group exercise. We need a team of adventurers ready to tackle the problems that
I
face
was
this world.
sort of hoping you just throw me in with people. Like maybe I'd meet people that way they have to talk to me first.
She gives you this really quizzical look, and then she kind of glances down at her information sheet, and she kind of looks lost because she's literally just reading off of a page. And she's just, well, if you go to the Gilded Ass Tavern, I think that Roland Longbranch may be able to support you or answer any of your questions.
Yeah, cool. Great talk. Thank you. And I leave.
And then she immediately turns and starts waving at other people and just like hoping that someone else will come and start talking to her about that. And so you kind of continue on through. And so you want to start making your way towards the center of town.
Yeah. I want to find that tavern.
All right. So, she pointed in a general direction, and Broadfield, its name implies, Broad is not a large town. And it's got one main street that goes through, and everybody's kind of heading in that direction. And so you begin to walk down, and as you're kind of passing by, you see a cart that's selling fruit nearby, and there's a woman behind it who's, shouting out her wares of special exotic fruits from the far locales of Alyria. There's more vendors that go on, and you pass even a small little stand that has a diminutive little kinku behind it, which are very rare to be seen outside of certain parts of the community. And as you keep going, there's games set up, and finally the street kind of opens up into what is the central mall area of the town. And there's the town hall, which is this broad, beautiful building that looks completely different than everything else, and it obviously looks like new construction. And then next to it is also a brand new built tavern, and it very clearly has a sign that says the Gilded Ass Tavern over the top of it.
I walk in extremely reluctantly.
Okay, so as you walk up to the tavern, the main entrance is actually kind of blocked off,
Okay.
and it's going to be open later on. But there's some people standing in front, and there are a couple people out front, kind of milling around, ready to kind of check in at the tavern or do things. And you see a man in a very ostentatious outfit standing on the front kind of terrace of the tavern, and he's just kind of in communication with other people. And there's one person who does catch your attention. Somebody dressed very differently than everybody else, and you know, robes with this large circlet of beads around it, and kind of standing off in the corner, we see Ronnie. Would you like to tell her what she sees?
Yes. So my character is Abel. He is a human, just full on human, kind of boring. But he is dark skin, probably 5'11", 6 foot, stands somewhat tall and proud, but he's very decked out as far as he has a lot of trinkets on him, a lot of ornate bracelets, little orbs, and things like that. He seems sure of himself, but still out of place. This Alyria is not his homeland, and he's here looking to explore and expand his horizons, but he's just not sure of the people. They're very different from what he's used to.
I'm gonna go up to
And-
him and ask if he's the mayor. Hi.
Okay.
Sorry to bother. Are you the mayor? Maybe.
I am not the mayor.
Well, okay. I turn around to leave.
Okay. I did not mean to offend you.
No, no, that didn't offend me. I'm sorry. I've done a really bad job here. I'm Marlo. You can just call me Ma if you want.
Ma, it is nice to meet you. My name is Abel.
Yep. Nice to meet you.
Were you directed here for the Adventurers Guild?
Yeah, that.
I came alone, according to the very nice lady. I needed a group, I guess.
Yeah, I'm having the same problem myself.
Well, Ma, perhaps if we get along, we can start our own group, eh?
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Why don't we keep our eye out, and if you see anyone with promise, we'll just pull them in, eh?
Okay. Yeah.
Sounds like
And as you all are having this conversation, the very ostentatiously dressed man on the kind of the front terrace, he finishes his conversation with what is a very large Goliath figure, who kind of saunters away, and then this finely dressed man turns to the crowd of people that are gathering in front of the tavern, and he says, "Welcome, welcome. This is Broadfield, the crossroads, is that what we said? The crossroads of Alyria. You are all here for the inaugural day of the Adventurers Guild, are you not?" And he kind of looks around, and people are like, yeah, and they're cheering and happy that this is all beginning. He says, we currently have one team fully registered for the challenge to see if they will be the founding members of the guild. Are there any other takers? Are there anyone out there who wants to join in? So you can speak now, forever hold your peace. We'll be finishing up signups in the next hour. And he kind of goes back and kind of pulls off to the side.
Ma, do you know how many people must be in a team?
I literally know nothing about what's happening.
The people here are not very helpful, huh?
No, I think that's on me though, a little bit.
No, I think you are doing fine. Yes, you're doing fine.
That's very generous. Thank you. Well, maybe we should try to find more. I can't imagine the limit is 2.
You're probably right. What if I go to the left and you go to the right? We'll meet in the middle.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Right. So from the tavern entrance, as Abel goes to the left, he does start to approach a very kind of a quickly constructed stage area, and it has some bright streamers over it, and it looks like it's being set up for some kind of performance. And sitting in front, kind of off to the side of it, there is a figure who's kind of just playing, beating on drums and kind of humming a little ditty as he plays. Ben, what does Abel see?
Abel sees Wash Bjord, and he's in the most elegant all black attire that you could think of, like kind of just like a black turtleneck and black pants, sitting there with his bongos just playing away. And he normally has a demeanor that's a little more cautious and taken aback. So as he walks up, he hears, I can't find anybody to put me in their team. I'm a little sad. I wish somebody would ask me. And then he turns and looks at Abel. Hello there.
Ask and ye shall receive. Hello, little friend. How are you today?
And he says this, and Abel, being a human, is probably 5'8" or so, and he's saying little friend. When Washfjord stands up to speak to him, how tall is how tall is Wash compared to this little human there?
He's 6'5", 6'5",
Oh,
6'6", so almost a full foot.
My dragon
hello.
standards.
Hello, large friend. I believe you would probably be very useful in a team of adventurers, no?
I mean, I guess so. I try to be useful. Do y'all need someone who's very versed in music and sound and dance?
Those are your best qualities? Music, sound?
Those are my starting qualities, but some groups just think it's too much.
Well, if your starting qualities are as impressive as your height, I would say we would love to have you join.
Thank you. If there is one thing, I have to perform with a mask on.
I have no objections. Is this a cultural thing, or
I just don't think you'd understand right now. Okay,
no,
personal.
I do not wish to offend. I am sorry.
Do you wear all those shiny objects as a cultural thing?
Yes, actually.
Oh, tell me about it.
We will have plenty of time to speak. Let's finish filling out our team, no? I'll introduce you to my friend, Mar. She's a bit skittish, so
All right. So as this conversation is happening, Mar, you headed to the right, which brings you kind of back around to the main thoroughfare, and you're kind of looking down this long string of bustling, loud people who are happy and excited to be there. And then there's you, and you are kind of walking by, and you get to one of the little stands, and it has this elaborately painted sign that says Broadfield Souvenirs, and you can see like on there there's all these like little trinkets and little toy objects and cups and coins that are, these are tokens that you can take home from today's journey to show that you've been to the crossroads of Alyria. And currently there is a small creature pawing through the souvenirs kind of fervently, with the human female standing behind the booth, saying, no, you have to pay for those things. You can't just take them.
I want to see what they look like, bro. Come on, sister, let me see.
And so, Atwood, what does Mar see going through this souvenir stand?
All right, so you see this little creature with these really vibrant eyes. I just put a picture in the group. And for a physical description, looks, I would say, otter-like, and is wearing not much, like a loincloth, and that's about it. Is carrying a pack, though, and festooned on the pack and along with the quarterstaff that he's carrying is just the craziest assortment of shit that you've ever seen in your life. It is like, oh, here's a shell, here's a pearl, here's like a shiny doorknob that he found at one point. It just goes on and on and on. And not that you get too good of a glimpse, because he's like spastically like looking around at everything that's on this table. It's particularly occupied with the snow globe right now, maybe.
and you do see he grabs this snow globe, and then the woman behind him has now like taken what looks like kind of one of those like toy fans that you can just like clack open, and it says Broadfield on the inside, and she's like trying to whack at his little paws to knock him away, and she says, you have to get tickets. These cost tickets. You can't just take the objects. Go get tickets and then come back and you can have the snow globe.
Where I get tickets, sister?
The games. Play any of the games. You can get any of the tickets.
The games?
Yes, all the games are elsewhere. They're not here, they're elsewhere. You have to go away from here and go to them.
All right,
please leave this tab.
I'll put the snow globe back and immediately start looking for games.
All right. And so
I look around for anyone, just anyone. That look. I guess I'll approach this little dude. Hi. Heard you need tickets. Well, I don't think this gives you that, but there is. Do you want to join in a temporary adventuring team? Maybe?
What you mean, adventure team? Maybe.
Well, it's I guess it's like fighting. I don't know. I really wasn't prepped on any of this. I feel like I'm not really
not so hot on the fighting, sister.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you just want to be a body and just stand there, that would be fine. You know?
I could make that work, yeah. Like, what we get aside, they give us tickets. What else they get?
Yeah, I bet they give you tickets. Sure.
If they don't give us tickets, will you get me something like they has on that table over there?
Yeah, fine.
All right, I helped you. You seem nice.
Thank you. What's your name?
Oh, my name is Kaimana.
Okay, cool. I'm Ma. Nice to meet you.
Like, shake your hand.
All right. So do you all head back towards the main area to try to meet back up?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So
Go
ahead.
Does Ma have like anything on you that is like, oh, you've got your ring, right?
Yeah, I do have my like brass knuckle rings. Yeah.
Where'd you get those?
They were given to me.
Oh, someone
Yeah.
must like you.
Yeah. Actually they do. I'll hit the button on the inside and then like retractable spikes like shoot out from them. I'll just be like,
Like eyes just like dilate like super wide, and Kaimana like fixates on it. What else it do?
that's it. That's
Oh.
literally it.
That's
Sorry,
neat though. I like that.
Yeah, it's useful for what I do. So
You could crack nuts with that.
you know, I've never tried it, but you know, now that I'm thinking about it, that does seem like a good idea.
I'm
All right,
following, just like
Yeah.
you guys
asking you
walk
about
back.
everything you own.
Cool.
And
No.
so you get back to the central area with Kaimana tagging along behind Mar, this bright bundle of sunshine behind Mar, and you kind of regroup with Abel and his new friend as well. And now you're back at the kind of the tavern where the crowd hasn't grown, but you do see that large Goliath figure that was there is now surrounded by what looks like a pretty mean group of about four other people as well.
So we're back together now. I'm sorry.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Ma, I believe I found a very good candidate for us here.
Great. I found someone.
Where is your someone?
I point down.
I'm
directly toward
just
them.
someone.
You are. Yep.
Is this a pet?
No, this is a person. Pretty sure.
Okay, I am sorry. I do not mean to offend. My name is
fine.
Abel.
I get that a lot.
Okay. This is amazing. I cannot believe he talks.
Benjamin, I'm just like focusing on your character right now. It's like, oh, you're a big mock.
Yes, this is my friend here. He Wash, is that, what do you prefer to be called? Wash Bjord?
You can call me Wash or Wash, whichever is more comfortable for you.
Nice to meet you, Wash.
Hey.
Like, you gonna stop growing?
Hopefully not. I want to be an older, tall one.
Well, you on the right track. I say you about halfway there.
I see we had very different ideas of what this team would look like. Well,
Racist eye roll there.
Yeah. Was it in character or not? You'll never know.
never know. Do you think we have enough members to join the guild?
I mean,
What's it? We joining a guild now. I thought we getting tickets.
that's the long-term plan. That's the goal. But the action is joining the guild for a second.
Oh.
What's a guild?
It's like a club, I guess. Kind of.
It's a dice club, right?
Sure.
Like, we had canoe clubs back where I was. Like, is it like a canoe club?
It's like canoe clubs, but instead of canoes, it's like adventuring.
Okay, that could be fun. Canoeing kind of like adventures.
Yeah, I guess it is.
So you're all standing in front of the tavern, and there's a couple people there who look like they're in some kind of official business. They're just standing there, while other people are kind of milling around, waiting for whatever show this is going to be to start. And then there is that the figure who identified himself as the mayor, kind of standing up on the cellist, just kind of waiting for that hour timeline to go by.
Should we go try to sign up, maybe?
Yes, that is a good idea. Yes, let us go.
So you walk up, and do you go to speak to the mayor, or do you speak to some of the other people up front?
I say let's go speak to the most important man in the room.
All right, so you walk right past, and there's two people kind of standing there. They kind of watch you go, but they don't stop you. And then you get up, and the mayor goes, "Ah, do we have another team to challenge the competition for joining the Adventurers Guild?"
Uh, yes, good sir. We would like to join with our strong guild members here.
Yeah.
And he kind of looks you over and a little bit of quizzical look as he kind of crosses this motley assortment, and goes, "Well, it does appear that you are one member short. We do require 5 members for entry, but I can go ahead and write you down, and when all 5 of your members are together, we can start and get things going. So, do you have kind of who's the leader or the name of your group that I can put down?"
The name? We are the. One moment, please. We are still debating the names.
Oh, of course. So take your time. I'm just here, just being the mayor. So I'm here waiting for you.
Thank you, kind sir. I did not know we needed a name.
What
Any
about the
suggestion?
Ticket Takers Club?
The Ticker Takers Club.
There's something really promising about that. Hold on. I think that's a legitimate option.
That could catch on.
Yes, I think that is a strong contender.
Well, that's what we're doing, right?
Yes, we are taking tickets. And I lean over to Mar like, I'm not sure what you promised him.
I'm not really sure either at this point.
So, all for the Ticket Takers Club, say aye. Aye?
Aye.
I
Come on. While
I-
you're doing that, go ahead and roll a perception check for me, please.
It's not good, guys.
We're getting robbed and we don't know it.
10.
10. So as this conversation about tickets is going on, you're very interested in that. But then as you're raising your hand, you kind of glance over to the side and you see a glint kind of in an alleyway between the tavern and a building next door. And then the glint kind of fades off into the alleyway. It's like this shimmer of light for a moment that catches your attention.
All right, let me make a wisdom saving throw real quick on my own volition.
I'm not sure if I want him to roll high or low.
I rolled a natural 20, so. But I guess I'm sorry, Grace. What's your character's name again?
Mar.
Mar. I'm gonna pull out Mar's sleeve like a kid with his mom, and just kind of be pointing off to the side.
What?
That's so cute. What is going on?
What do you see?
I saw something. Let's go over there.
Okay.
And so the two of you kind of make your way over there, and kind of tucked in the alley and leaning against the wall, like a hood up to kind of hide their face, you see a figure kind of standing there. And Rob, kind of describe who they see hiding away in the alley.
Well, you're aware of giant rats, and this is a giant white rat. Only it's really weird because he's standing on his hind legs and his arms are longer and he's got thumbs. He's got an eye patch
Splinter.
on. He's dressed in white clothes with a long white overcoat over it. He looks like this.
Yes.
My character now.
So he's pretty much all in white with red trim on the jacket, with gold buttons. Yeah, and just taking things in.
Was it the gold buttons that I saw?
Yeah, there's probably a glint of gold, but on your waist there, what do they see kind of on your waist that would stand out to them, Rob?
A flintlock pistol, which you can see he is holding.
I was gonna ask.
A rat with a gun.
And so, Kaimana, you would have
A
no
rat with a gat.
you would have no knowledge of what this object is, but it
Uh-huh.
is a very shiny silver like object with kind of wood grain, and there's shiny little bits and like moving pieces and moving objects, and that's definitely what glinted in the sunlight and caught your attention.
All right, so Kaimana knows that his little obsessions are sometimes like seen as less than amicable to some people. So he doesn't want to be like too obvious in his mind. But to anyone who's within like 20 feet, especially like since he's now like the only other person in the alley, you just kind of sideways like walk up and like just get closer to Rob's character, and then just at the pistol that he's got. Not say anything, just like stare at it and like move his head back and forth, looking at it at new angles, just studying it. It's rude. He knows it's rude to touch like a stranger's shiny in a dark alley.
I am standing at the edge of the alley in absolute disbelief at what is happening.
Yes, because now your vision is a man-sized rat person and this
5'6".
small otter creature just kind of walking back and forth in front of them. Like,
Yeah, I'm just like
eyeing-
rubbing my temple and been like, I never should have left the forest. I never should have left the forest.
So I guess like now that half our team is like wandered off to the alley, I'm gonna like tug on the big tall dragonborn's shirt and like, perhaps we should go find them. And then we'll like
Just listen for the gunshot.
So I look over. It's refreshing to look down on someone, and I don't mean that in a pejorative sense, but in an actual height one. Can I help you?
Oh, just looking at that. What is that?
That is a gift.
Who I gotta make friends with get a gift like that?
It's a long story. Perhaps I'll tell it to you sometime.
Like look back at Mar and be like, he okay? I like him.
Ask him to join the group.
Like loud enough that he can hear.
Yes.
Okay. So like we're part of this club called the Ticket Takers Club. I don't know if you'll be interested maybe, but maybe you like come with and we have a fun time.
What kind of fun time?
I'm not too sure about that right now myself.
I'll walk
Not-
over to this. Finally. Hi.
Mara, what kind of fun we having?
It's the Adventurers Guild. Remember?
Oh,
Remember that part? Yeah.
yeah. The other word for club, right? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Interesting. So you're forming a team to join the Adventurers Club, and you're desperate for extra people.
You know, I don't think it's bad to admit that you're desperate when you are desperate.
Interesting. And who are you?
I'm Marlo. You can just call me Ma, though.
Marlo. And you, brother?
My name is Kaimana.
Kaimana. I am Saurus.
Nice to meet you, Saurus. You got lots of good stuff, Saurus. Ooh, cool, shiny.
Thank you.
And by this point, Abel and Wash have also made their way into the alley because your friends have been taking so long.
Hey, Wash, this Saurus, he a really nice guy.
Oh, hey.
Hello. And who are you?
Saurus a big monk, or not Saurus. Sorry, Wash a big Bulksaurus.
I slide up next to him. Like, we would look good on stage together.
Do you play or act?
Both.
Strange pickup line. Just
Oh, both.
I play the piccolo.
I put my mask on. My name is Wash, and I play the bongos. I pull out my bongos. You got a group? Got a group. Wait, are you joining?
Eventually, but not at the moment. Is Wash your only name?
I take it off. Take my mask off. No, it's Wash Bjord.
Wash Fjord. Nice to meet you. I
Hey,
am
usually-
Saurus.
Nice to meet you, Saurus.
And that leaves our last individual here who has not introduced himself yet.
hello. My name is Abel. I do not mean to be rude. Mr. Sora, was it?
Saurus.
Soris.
But
sorry, go ahead.
you are not being rude. We just hadn't gotten to you yet.
Yes, I appreciate it. It is very nice to meet you. Have they explained what we are attempting to accomplish here?
There was mention of an Adventurers Guild and the Ticket Takers Club.
Yes. we're very, very proud of the name.
As well you should be.
Well, do we think he would be a good member or good candidate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have I
I
ever
twice-
seen anything like Kimana before, Josh?
No, you definitely would never have seen anything like Kaimana before.
We will have a conversation
Uh,
later.
I'm trying to think who. Yeah, no, you definitely wouldn't have. Yeah.
Well, shall we be about it?
Oh yeah.
You sure?
All right, so you guys heading back to speak back with the mayor.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
you approach it, and the mayor sees you coming again, Abel, and you're back. And I see you do have 5 members now. This is an interesting group, and so now I can write your name. Well, and you said the Tickers Takers Club, or Ticket Takers Club, Tickers Takers, Ticket Takers. What was the name again?
The ticket takers.
Oh, the Ticket Takers Club.
Yes.
Very interesting choice. So currently we have 2 teams competing. We have the Ticket Takers Club and the Slaughterers. So it's an interesting matchup. Very interesting indeed. And
I'm
so
so sorry, guys.
We went with it.
We
and so-
literally all said yes.
yes.
I'm so excited. This is a good one. This is
Yes.
It's going to be this kind of campaign.
100% for sure. And so he kind of says, well, that's very nice. I haven't been approached by anybody else, but this is fine. We are looking for 5 founding members to be the kind of the ones who kick off the Adventures Guild and really establish its name in this realm. And so having 2 teams compete is perfectly all right for me. And then he kind of motions over to the tall Goliath figure that you saw him talking to before, and he motions for him to come over. And he kind of saunters up. He says, Tovik, we've now got the competition in place, so if you would like to gather your team together, and then this tall Goliath goes, yeah, I'll get him. And he goes back over. And then so Roland turns back to you all and says, well, I guess we will be able to begin. And then he kind of does this weird like jump, kind of flip back up onto the terrace, and he says, people of Broadfield, the championship round, which I guess we didn't have earlier rounds, so I guess it wouldn't be a championship round, but the round to determine who will be the Adventure Guild founding members will begin. there are going to be 5 contests of your acrobatics and athletics, your strength, your dexterity, your ability to woo a crowd, and your ability to see things that maybe others wouldn't pick up on. Your goals are 2 teams, the Slaughterers, and you see him kind of gesture over, and it's this decked out crew led by this tall Goliath figure. But you see a guy wearing an elvish man in full plate armor. You see a human with these extravagant robes. There's a small gnomish woman with this beautiful shield that has a symbol that Wash, you'd probably recognize. Roll a history check for me, please.
Ooh, a 10.
A 10. You've seen the symbol before coming from the where your area of Alyria. You would have seen this symbol pretty commonly in your area. You can't quite remember exactly what it represents, though. And then there is they also have a tabaxi figure, this tall, kind of panther-esque cat figure, and has this beautiful bow strapped across her back. And so they're there, and he's, does the Slaughterers versus and he looks down at the paper again and points to you, the Ticket Takers. And the people around are like, yeah, the Ticket Taker, okay, and they're little.
Mon is clapping. He's so happy he hears the name.
Club.
All right, so for the first round of this competition, you will all be assigned 1 task. The games that you passed coming into town also double as challenges in this performance task here, and so each of you will have to make a choice as to which game you'd like to play to represent your team. The winner of each one will earn a point for their team, and the team with the highest number of points will get to choose which task they challenge to see if they get to join the Adventures Guild. So, who would like to step up first to show their strength in our obstacle course? And he kind of looks over, and in the Slaughterers, the Tabaxi kind of steps forward and takes the bow off and hands it off to one of the other members, and kind of cracks the knuckles a little bit, and she saunters forward and she nods and says, "Kite will do it." And then Roland looks over to you all and says, "Which one of you would like to challenge your acrobatics and athletics?"
Guys, these arms are meant.
I will take this one. I think it'll be fun to play with a cat.
So, oh goodness. So, Saurus, this rat figure walks up to the panther figure, and they kind of nod at each other, and the panther looks you up and down, and then Roland goes, "Good. Our second task will be the Hammer and Bell, a challenge of your strength. Who would like to be the one to challenge the Hammer and Bell?"
It's kind of like look over, like Wash, just like
Abel just expectantly looks up at Wash and just like.
I also look at Wash.
I say these arms are meant for playing, not lifting.
But wait, there was some challenge about winning crowd, right?
Oh, yes.
Roland hears you answer this and says, "Yes, there will be a challenge to woo the crowd. Yes."
That might be you, Wash. You a pretty good hand with those bongos.
I got that. Thank you.
But I definitely not the strongest one here.
Yes, my strength is not my strong suit.
If I had to put a number to my strength, it'd be a 5, and that's not the modifier. So.
If I had to put a number, I would just say like an even 10.
So you're saying you're twice as strong as Mark?
That's not
Mark can't lift.
I'm gonna go with the otter on this one.
Oh God.
I can't believe that's how this math worked out in this party. No, actually, I totally get it. It's theater nerds. Nobody made charisma their dump stat.
I have 2 dump stats, so incorrect.
The dice were not kind.
I mean, if nobody steps up to the plate, like Kaimana will say that he'll do it.
All right, so Kaimana kind of steps forward.
Is it a Goliath that I'm up against?
And then immediately you see Tavek, the Goliath, kind of saunter forward. And I mean, he stands taller than even Wash. And so he's looking down at you, maybe coming to his knee. So, and he kind of just looks at you and goes,
I volunteer
I
as
didn't know
tribute.
the digger would be a competition.
Gunpowder come in small package.
I'd hope so, little one. And Tavik kind of steps to the side, and then Roland goes, that will be a very interesting competition. The next one will be a test of your dexterity with an archery contest. Who would like to be the representative from each team for that?
I can do that one.
All right, so Mars steps forward for the archery, and then you see like Kite, the panther, kind of, who had just handed the bow off, is like, well, missed an opportunity. But then the small the elvish figure in the very fancy plate armor kind of steps forward and says, I'll take it. And so you kind of face off with this elvish figure, Mar. And then Roland goes, and then the final 2 competitions, we have one to woo the crowd, because as we all know, an adventurer must be able to shout their glory from the mountaintop. Who will be the one to prove that they have the ability to get the entire world behind them?
Wash reaches down and ruffles into his bag and pulls out a cape and puts it on.
Yes.
It's a all black cape, but on the inside is gold, and he pulls his mask down and he goes, Wash Bjord shall be the one to woo the crowd. And he shimmers over.
Good. And the other team, there's a human figure there in also very vibrant robes, and he kind of steps forward and he says, I will take this challenge. And so you're facing off against this figure as well. And then the final competition, Roland goes, and last but not least, a check to see who has the keenest eyes and the strongest ability to find the things that are lost. That leaves you, and he points at Abel, and then he points at the other figure across the way who had not yet signed up as well. And so we now have a complete competition. And so he says, first up, and if we will clear a path to the game district, we will make our way to the obstacle course for our first round. And you see he kind of saunters off the steps, and he starts walking, and the crowd of regular commoners kind of part a little bit. And after he gets about 10 or 15 feet, he turns around and says, oh, no, you all have to come with me. Walk this way. And he just kind of saunters through town. And it's almost as if there's an invisible, like bandstand performing and playing as he's moving. And he's moving to this beat of this own music.
Please tell me Wash is doing the same beat.
Definitely. This is an intro.
Oh goodness. All right, so you guys you make your way back down that main thoroughfare, and to the right in the games district, kind of behind all of those, you can now see that there is an obstacle course set up there, and it's, there's various things that you have to leap over and climb under, and ropes to climb, and bells to hit when you get to the top of them, and monkey bars and all kinds of different things. And so the member from the Slaughters, the Tabaxi figure kind of walks up, and she approaches the starting line, and she kind of looks over and she goes, I suppose the rat can go first.
Let's be polite.
I was about to say ladies first, but I guess I will go first.
Good. And so you approach the starting up. And so, Rob, what this will be is 3 checks um, of your athletics or acrobatics. I'll describe the challenge, and you can choose which one that you'd like to approach it with. Depending on
Okay.
which one you pick, there will be a different DCs for those. And so,
Is
it,
running
it,
speed
roll-
like sprinting an issue?
there's a time limit, and so
Okay.
Roland sits and he says, and so for this challenge, your goal will be to make it from the starting point around 1 lap around the obstacle course and back to this point, and those with the fastest time will be able to win. And he kind of points out the path that you're going to go, and there's the first challenge is kind of a wall that you have to climb over. And then as you're kind of looping around the second challenge, you go under some kind of barbed wire and do a crawl that leads up to a rope that you have to climb and ring a bell. And then you swing down on the opposite side of kind of a wall that the rope is against. And then you run around to finish out the trial.
Okay. I will point out that my base movement is a 45. And I can bonus action dash.
Yeah. Step of the wind.
Was that a monk? Wow.
Oh,
All right. So so he kind of takes he has like a little firecracker in his hand, and he says, so at the explosion, it is time for you to go. Are you ready there? And what was your name, my little my friend?
Saurus.
Saurus of the Ticket Takers Guild. The Ticket Takers? Right, that's
Club.
the Ticket Takers. Yeah. The Ticket Takers Club, sorry. I'll get it right eventually, I'm sure. And he kind of lights the firecracker, and you realize, like, maybe he's never held a firecracker this long before, and it's probably not a very good idea. And eventually he realizes, and he tosses it up in the air, and it explodes and sparks. And
I'm gone.
The first. So go ahead and roll for the first challenge, and for you, you can choose either athletics or acrobatics because you're a monk to climb over the wall. It's a 10-foot
I'm going to go with acrobatics.
All right, go ahead and roll a d20 and add your acrobatics.
Actually, I'm going to jump and use Step of the Wind in one of my key points, which doubles my jump distance to 20 feet. So I just jump right over it.
Right, so the entire audience is watching, and it's like the moment it's almost like the moment the explosion happens, there's this blur of movement heading towards the first obstacle, and they expect you to kind of get there and like kick up and then grab and pull over, but you just kind of hit step, bound, and you fly over the top and just kind of like tiptoe off the top of the wall, and you're on the ground on the opposite side, tearing off for the second, which is kind of diving into a crawl underneath the barbed wire. So how quickly you can get through there and avoid the barbs, make 2 checks really quickly, a acrobatics check followed by a dexterity saving throw.
Would this count as difficult terrain?
We'll say, because crawling would, it's technically half movement because you have to go prone and crawl through it. Yeah.
Okay, but does my thin frame come into play here?
It would actually come in play here, so you are not affected by the having to crawl through.
Okay. So do I still have to roll twice?
Roll, so you can ignore the first roll, but do roll the dexterity saving throw to see if you avoid the barbed wire.
I do not avoid the barbed wire.
Okay, what was your total roll?
Dexterity save?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yep.
That would be an 8.
An 8. Okay, so you like after
I'm still wearing the coat, so it makes sense.
After you come off this leap, you kind of hit the ground, and it's almost you slide in, and you cover the first half of the barbed wire course without any trouble. But then you almost come out a little bit too quickly out of the crouch, and your coat catches on the end, and you have to stop for a moment to untie yourself, but then you can tear off towards the final challenge, which is the rope climb and to ring the bell. And so that would be an athletics check.
Which check?
An athletics check for you.
so I have to athletics, not acrobatics.
Yeah, because it is climbing instead of pulling. You don't have anything to prop yourself up against.
Athletics, that would be 22.
So you untangle yourself from the barbed wire, and you close the distance in a flash of speed, and you use your leaping ability to jump and grab the rope and swing a little out, and then you climb up as you're swinging back, and you ding the second thing and do a backflip off of the rope and land, and then finish out the course. And it's almost as if Roland didn't even have time to consciously be aware that you were running the course before you're back, and he kind of looks and goes, was that, did you? And then the crowd just erupts. Oh my gosh! It's the fastest all day, and they're blown away by it. And finally, like this haughty panther is kind of looking at you, and that kind of sneer of looking down on the figure is evaporated from her face as she approaches the starting line. And so she approaches up, and in her first kind of run around, she hears the explosion, and it catches her off guard, and she trips and stumbles out of the line and slams into the dirt, and she has to pick herself off, and you can tell that she's immediately embarrassed by how badly this started, but she gets to the wall, and she's able to pull herself up over the wall, and then she crumbles down to the other side, and she catches up a little speed and kind of slides in, and using her agile form is able to climb under the barbed wire without getting caught. And then Jesus, she's terrible. She approaches the second challenge, and she grabs the rope, and as she's kind of going up, she just can't find the rhythm of pulling herself up, and she slides a couple times on the rope before she's able to pull, and she rings the bell and then climbs down the other side, and she comes around the corner, and she's huffing and puffing a little bit, and Roland's looking at his stopwatch, and he just says, I don't think this was any contest, and I think the audience can probably tell who the winner is. And they start cheering, and they're like, "It was the rat! The rat!" And
I bow to them.
yeah,
Very
you have, like,
respectful G-bow.
it's like the Avatar guy who's like gets a foamy mouth. Is like they're all excited about your presence or whatever. And so Roland says that is. And I'm sure it's a surprise to everybody. 1 point for the Ticket Takers Club, and they are currently in the lead. And he starts walking off to the next task, and he says, "And if you'll all follow me for the next challenge, the hammer and the bell."
Is there another official sitting here who has been running this event?
Yeah, so you see that, like, for the normal everyday people who came here, there's just kind of like a frumpy old woman kind of sitting there who was taking people's tickets when they came in, and she just kind of looks at you and she goes, "They say I'm supposed to give these to you if you win." And she hands a couple tickets to you for being the winner of the obstacle course.
I bow to her, and I give the tickets to Kimana, and I say, "Do well."
And so, Raimana, you do get 2 little tickets, and they just say Broadfield souvenirs on them. So these are tickets.
We're already doing good, guys.
All right.
We are.
You head over, and Roland leads your path over, and he says, "The next challenge, the hammer and the bell. We have the great, the powerful from the slaughters, Talvik, facing off against Kaimana of the Ticket Takers Club."
Yes,
but
got
if
it.
anything can be seen, this group is not one to be questioned. Don't judge books by their furry covers. And Talvik says, "I'll go first." And he steps up, and this is a very typical festival. There's a tall thing you hit a hammer on a post, and it launches up and hits a bell. It's a very simple task, but it does require a good bit of strength. And so Talvik grabs the hammer, he kind of spits in his hands a little bit, and then he takes a swing. And you see, he slams down on the hammer, and you see it rise up, and it goes up right before the bell, but it doesn't ding, and then it comes back down. And Roland kind of looks at it, shocked, and says, well, the Goliath didn't ding the bell, but that was pretty close, if I do say so myself. Up next is Kaimana.
All right.
So roll a athletics check. There, Kaimana.
First, I would like to wild shape into an elk.
I've ever seen one.
So, to an elk?
Yes.
Sweet. All right. So as you guys are all sitting there, and you're like, okay, well, there's no way that this Goliath is going to get beaten by this little otter man, and then suddenly the little otter man, you see his limbs start to extend, and then out of the top of his head, you see these massive horns starting to spread, and his snout descends, and he grows up to be about 6 or 7 feet tall at the shoulder. This giant elk. And Roland kind of takes 2 steps back and goes, well. Did we say, was there no magic? Did we say that they couldn't do magic in the rules? And there's one of the officials from the tavern is following behind and kind of goes, sir, you made the rules, so I think whatever you say. And Roland goes, well, it is the Adventurers Guild and we want the best. So if this is the best that you have to offer, Kaimana, go ring that bell. And so now you may roll your athletics check.
You're going to jump on the bell, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You said athletics check?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see.
Plus your
I've got
strength.
an elk strength is 16, I think, if I read that right.
So D20 plus
3.
3.
3, yeah.
That is a 17.
17. So for you guys watch as the elk kind of bounds forward for a second and then leaps up, and with somehow magically, because it's like the target is on that kind of fulcrum arm, lands with all 4 legs square on the fulcrum arm, and the bell, or the little object, shoots up, hits the bell, and knocks it off the top of the post, and it goes flying off into the crowd. And there's this little boy that kind of goes running after the bell and is now carrying it through the audience going, I've got the bell! I've got the bell! And off with it. And then there's a little lady there who says, well, I guess we have to shut this one down. And she hands off 2 tickets to Kaimana for a victory. So that's 2.
Did
I'm
not
gonna
see
take-
that one coming, gonna be honest.
I'm gonna stay in elk shape for a little bit.
So somebody else, so since she doesn't know to hand them to Kaimana, she hands off the 2 tickets to Abel, who's standing nearby, and then Roland is already heading off onto the archery competition, which is a couple stalls down, and he realizes that the elk is getting a whole lot more attention, and you guys are starting to kind of build a following among the townspeople. They just saw this white blur of a rat tear around the obstacle course. They just saw this little otter man transform into an elk and smash the bell tower, and so they're kind of hanging around you, and Roland is like, no, this way, over here, the 3rd competition. We are currently with 2 points for the Ticket Takers Club, the TTC. The TTC have 2 points, and the Slaughters, with their deadly name, are at 0. And so the archery competition is up next, and that is Mar versus Caden. And so, Mar, you walk up, and the figure. Caden, yes, he kind of steps forward, and he's this elvish figure, and he goes, well, I suppose since you all are currently in the lead, you might as well go first, if you'd prefer.
Sure. Thank you.
Do well.
And so you step up, and the lady who's kind of sitting there, who was running this booth, says, well, the way we've been playing, there's 3 targets, and you get 2 shots. You can call your target. Each one is worth a certain number of points, and so you can choose which one you'd like to go. And there's a far target, and she says the far target is worth 3 points. The closer target is worth 2 points, and the the closest target is worth 1. But if you get a bullseye on any of them, it's a bonus point for each.
Okay.
So she hands you a bow, and it's a little toy bow, but sufficient,
I'm
and 2
upset by
arrows.
it.
And so she hands them off to you, and you get to choose which targets you'd like to go for.
I'll go for the middle one, I guess, first.
Okay, so you aim at the middle target first, and so go ahead and roll. Are you proficient in bows?
I am.
Good. So you can roll your d20, and then add your proficiency bonus and your dexterity bonus.
21.
So you just kind of and it's it's a toy little bow, and it's probably meant more for children, and so you kind of pull it, and you are fully stretching this bow to its almost to its breaking point. It's bending back, and the woman's like, and before she can even tell you to like not break the toy, you release, and it flies straight and true and slams right into the bullseye of the second target, and so you have racked on 3 points in your first arrow. Which one would you like to aim for the second time?
The far one.
All right, so you take an aim, and you're going to head off for the far one. So
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll. Same adding on that.
19.
19. So, and before the audience can even register the bullseye on the first one, you quickly whip out and release on the second one, and this flies, and it sticks right at the edge of the bullseye, just into the white, not in the red. But from the distance, it looks very much like you hit very close to the center, and the audience is just like, they can do everything. They can turn into elves. They can shoot perfectly. And you.
I just picture Marlowe firing like Wednesday Addams with all of that level of.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Just not even like bam.
Just like. Ping.
I love it. Perfect. And so Roland turns and he says, our first competitor walks away with 6 points. Let's see if Caden can do any better. And this haughty elven figure kind of steps forward and takes the bow from you and says, thank you very much. Let's see how we can do. And he lines up a shot on the far target. This dice, I'm going to throw it in the dice jail, apparently. He kind of just haughtily pulls back, and you can tell that he's a very practiced archer. He has the right form, but maybe it's the small.
He's using a toy bow.
He's using a toy bow. And so he kind of pulls and just kind of half-heartedly releases, and the arrow flies up in an arc and then dips down and doesn't even hit the target. It hits into the dirt behind. And he kind of looks over at Talvik, and this towering Goliath figure is just seething in anger at how poorly it's really doing. And he kind of takes the bow and drops it to the side, and he says, it's not even worth a second shot. And he storms off, and Rolling is like, well, I guess that makes Ma the victor with 6 points. Ma, that is now 3 points for the TTC, everybody. And so he trudges up towards the stage, and you guys are all kind of now basking in this audience that has slowly built over time. There were people, kind of just shopping and checking out games and doing all these other kind of things. But as this competition has been going, there's now most of the town of Broadfield, and the people that are there are kind of following you around and watching what you're doing. And they're kind of like, yes, TTC. And Talvik and his group are just kind of walking off like in frustration that they probably can't win this competition unless the points are a little weird in the last 2 rounds. So you head off to the open stage area. Right, and when you get there, Roland's already standing up on stage like he owns it, because he probably does. He's the mayor. And he's looking out and he says, well, this competition, which none of you probably saw coming, is not neck and neck. But heading into the 4th competition, we have the ability for a team to earn bonus points. Because 1, I will award a point. and the crowd will be able to reward a point to the winning competitor. And this is the performance challenge. This is a stage. You all, as Adventure Guild members, will be playing on the world stage and representing Broadfield and the rest of Alyria. So, Wash. And he looks over at the other member from the other team and says, Sora, you two will be competing. You may choose your weapon. Which musical instrument? Are you going to sing? Are you going to dance? Are you going to play? How are you going to please the audience? But you must perform something that will wow the crowd.
Sora? We're not related.
This little gnomish figure kind of struts forward, much shorter than you, and she kind of looks up at you and says, "No, I don't think so," and keeps walking on. And so she gets to Wash and says, "Who would you like to go first?"
You can go first.
Okay, so she goes, "All right," and she kind of gets up on the stage. She has to kind of pull herself up rather than walking around to the stairs. And when she gets there, she kind of reaches in her packs, and you see that she pulls out 3 batons, and she starts twirling them. And she's twirling them, and she starts juggling them and tossing them and tossing them. And then suddenly she, like, as one of the batons flies into the air, you see like she releases some kind of arcane kind of energy, and one of the batons bursts into fire, and she catches it and then keeps rotating it and flying them around. And she's gonna make 3 performance checks over the course of this. And so her first one, as the fire kind of launches down, she catches it, but then she kind of fumbles it a little bit, and it rolls across the floor, but she's able to pick it up. And then she manages to turn that into a one-handed cartwheel, and she throws the baton back up into the air. She continues to juggle all 3, and then finally she throws all 3 up into the air, and within quick succession, boom, 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 they explode into like a magical array of fireworks. And she catches 2 in her hand, and then the third one she catches in her teeth, and then she bows to the audience. And they were all chanting TTC, but now they're going, "Sora, that was amazing!" And Roland goes, "I think that was quite a challenge. The Slaughterers might actually get on the board with that one. Wash, it's up to you."
Wash is walking, but you see his cloak is covered in front of him, so he has those long strides until he gets to the center, and he turns to his team and he says, "I would like to thank the group for picking me up out of the dirt to put me on the stage I've always wanted to be on." And then he goes and he immediately he pulls out his hand straight up and goes, "Dancing lights." And then you see these 4 spears appear right in front of him, and he does like a little shake, like, "Anyone can be a slaughterer, but it takes some grit to be a ticket taker. As if you had an unseen servant grabbing the hems of the cape." And the cape you see is moved like with the wind, and then he brings light down into a person that's the same, like he brings the 4 lights together as a person that's like kind of the same shape as them, and then they start coordinating. "Anyone can be a slaughterer, but no one can be a ticket taker. Everyone wants to be a slaughterer, but guess what?
Oh gosh.
We're taking your tickets."
Okay. So over the course of that, roll 3 performance checks. I'll give you the last one with advantage for that performance.
Oh,
The fact that you actually performed it.
yeah, exactly. 18 for the first one.
Okay.
Grace came in and it was just like, what? What's happening?
No, I wasn't actually.
That's pretty much what Mar was doing, I think.
What was
I was
amazing?
in the time.
11 for the second.
Okay, and the last one with advantage.
Last one. 12, 2 12s.
Okay, good, 12. So
Is that including your performance bonus?
Oh,
yeah, you had your performance bonus.
sorry. Oh shit, +6 So
Plus 6 for all of them.
Okay, so
24, 17, and 18. That'll do it. Because you were up against somebody who had rolled like a 3, a 5, and a natural 20. So, so the fact that you are well above 15 for all those. And so Roland kind of steps forward and he goes, I mean, that was probably the best show the Broadfield's seen in years, between our baton twirler in Sora and whatever that was. Wash. It was beautiful. It was brilliant. And I will reward my 1 point to, and he points to Sora, and she gets the 1 point for the performance. And he now turns to the crowd and he says, but audience, you get to provide one as well. Who will you choose? Will you choose Sora? And about, there's a loud cheer from the crowd. Yeah, Sora! Explosions! Fireworks! It's great! But then he goes, okay. But who will choose Wash? And now there's a definite roar from the crowd. And they're like, there was a dancing light man! It was amazing! He did a song! They're freaking out. And Roland kind of steps back and goes, well, I think that we're split because the audience, Wash, chose you. And you guys earned a point for Wash's performance as well. So good job, Wash. Nice work.
Woo!
And so Roland kind of quiets the audience down and he says, and now for the final challenge. While you were all here watching this, my workers and minions have hit a special object somewhere within this square. And it is up to, and he points to Abel, and he points over to the final member of the Slaughterer's team, to locate this object. Who can find the golden egg first will win the last 2 points for their team. Any questions before we begin? And he looks at the two, and like the human female kind of shakes her head no, and she looks over to you, and Roland's saying, "Do you have any questions there, Abel?"
Are we restricted where we can search?
Well, so that is, it is just in this mall section, so you don't need to go check anywhere near the souvenir booths or the games or anything like that. Just in this open mall.
No questions, then, good sir.
Okay, so for you, Ronnie, so this will be a selection and a choice of, there is 4 quadrants for the search area. And so you can either choose quadrant 1, 2, 3, or 4. And while you're searching one, they will be searching the other one, and you'll be competing in roles. And if you happen to be searching in the right quadrant and you get the right role, you would find the egg before they do.
Okay.
Okay, so where in the mall would you like to run off to search first?
I will search quadrant 2 first.
Okay, so as you're running into quadrant 2, make a perception check for me.
Perception. That is a 17.
17. Okay, so as you're kind of booking into the quadrant, and the quadrants seem to be kind of aligning with the tavern seems to be in one area of the square, the stage is in one area, and then there's like a general store and another store that's in the back. So you run back behind where the stage is, and as you're kind of running around, a couple objects catch your glance, and you immediately can recognize, okay, there's some things that are kind of out of place there and there that look like they're recently placed. So go ahead and roll an investigation check to investigate those 2 areas.
Ooh, this is my wheelhouse.
It's like a live action highlights magazine.
Yeah. 1000%.
Oh, God. I love that description.
Thank you for that was my source material. 18. Okay, so with haste, and with those 2 rolls, you managed to complete this in 15 seconds. And so you kind of tear through, and you get to the first one, and you kind of go in, and it's like there's like a potted plant, and you reach out behind it, and you pull out an egg, but it's blue. It's not the golden egg. And then you kind of
toss it over my shoulder.
Around behind, and you toss it behind your shoulder, and it hits somebody in the audience.
I catch it.
You're a missile snare.
Deflect missile. Look.
Okay. Roll.
What was it?
You roll a d10 to reduce damage, right? On missile snare, is it a d10? Or just do you have missile snare yet, Rob? Is that what that is?
No. I was just going to
Okay,
try and catch it.
So then just roll a dexterity check to see if you can to catch it.
Nope, I don't.
Okay, so
that's a 4 plus 3, so no,
Okay.
4 plus 4, so that's 8.
he tosses it absent-mindedly over his shoulder, and Saurus does make a valiant attempt to catch it, but it kind of flies right past his hand. And right behind you, Saurus, you hear kind of this little female voice just go, "Ow!" and then just start wailing in tears. And you turn around and look, and there's just this girl in like the cutest little purple dress, like she dressed up for the festival, and there's just egg yolk running down her face now, and her mom's just trying to calm her down. But Abel is rushed off to the second one, and you spot kind of in the corner from behind the stage, kind of tucked up underneath, you reach in and pull out another egg, but it is red, and so that's not the right one.
Okay.
Which quadrant
I
do you want to
gently
run?
place this on the ground. I'll check quadrant 3 now. We're going to run to
Quadrant 3. Okay, and as you're running, go ahead and make a perception check as you're running into the quadrant.
Perception. 21.
21. Okay, so as you're running, not only do you immediately spot kind of a glint and a shape and a color that all catch your eye in 3 different separate locations, you do see the human female figure of the other team, and she's kind of rushing opposite you on the opposite side of the zone, and she's moving away. She was much slower than you on her first search through, but she obviously didn't find anything, and she's heading into the second quadrant to continue looking. So go ahead and roll an investigation check.
Investigation. I have a high investigation modifier. It's a 9.
A 9. So you lose
I
a
get
little bit
from
of time.
bragging.
Yeah, you lose a little bit of time as you're searching, but you were able to pinpoint one of the locations, and so as you caught a glint, and you're moving in that direction, and you're kind of searching, like, what did I find it behind? What was I looking in? And finally, you reach up, and there's kind of a crate, and you can see between the slats of the crate there's an object, and you lift up the top and you pull out, but it's a white egg. It's not the right egg. So go ahead and roll a second investigation check. That costs you a little bit of time.
Okay. Investigation. Oh my god, this is 7. What's going on?
7. As you're searching, you're getting frustrated, and you look, and she has headed, and she's heading into her third quadrant at this point. She's searched through the second quadrant and hasn't found anything. And you kind of are looking, and you kind of find, but you don't even find an egg. There's just a stone that caught your eye. Roll your final investigation check for the third location.
Big money, no whammies.
No whammies, no whammies. 20. A dirty 20.
A dirty 20, okay. And so finally you rush over, and you see that she's kind of frantically tearing through, and she's going through places, and she finds the egg on the ground that you dropped, and she's like, that's not the right one. And as you're kind of running, and she's about to head into the same quadrant that you are, you're running past, and you recognize, you see something out of the corner of your eye, and you reach up on the seal of the general store. There's a shutter, and you kind of pull the shutter aside, and there, hidden behind there, is the golden egg, and you grab it and head back to the stage.
Yeah. Just rush back to the stage, and I found it here.
And Roland goes, and that is it. We got almost a very clean sweep from the TTC, the Ticket Takers Club. The Ticket Takers Club has cleaned, and that means that the Slaughters will not be our stars of the opening of the Adventures Guild. So the TTC, if you will join me in the Gilded Ass Tavern and give them a hand. And he claps, and the crowd is cheering and shouting, all except for this one mother who's taking care of her daughter.
Can I go over to that mom and just pass them like 2 gold, because I feel very bad.
She looks at it, she looks at you and recognizes who you were with, and she goes, Thank you, thank you. And she goes back to cleaning up her daughter.
My
And she's
eyes,
like, I will buy you so many treats now. And she's cleaning off it. And the little girl kind of stops crying for a moment and she says, can we have the candied nuts? And she's like, yes, you can have all the candied nuts. And the little girl goes, that would be great. And then immediately starts crying again because it's whatever. But she's getting clean and they're very thankful for the pass off there.
I just like very abashedly like thank you, Mar, for that. I appreciate
It's fine.
All right. So do you all make your way to that?
I'll
I love our
finally
facial expressions, Grace.
I'll finally get out of the moose shape. Or the elk, excuse me.
I was like, why did you turn into a moose?
So Kaimana,
You see the elk walking up to the door and just shrinking down and going through it.
you guys are walking into the Gilded Ass Tavern, and Kaimana realizes, yeah, and goes back into the otter form as you make your way in. And
I definitely make the grabbies at Mar.
Yeah, no, I give you my tickets, I promise.
That's great. And so Kaimana, you do now have 4 tickets, and yeah, you have 4 tickets for the competition.
Were there tickets for the
the archery would have gotten tickets as well. So Mar, so you had so you gave your tickets to Atwood. So Kaimana now has 6 tickets. Which
this is
might
the
be
best date ever.
It's awesome.
All right. And so you're heading into the Gilded Ass Tavern, and it's appropriately named. The building, it looks like it's brand new, which is so weird to see this kind of old town with these old wooden buildings and structures, but then to have this town hall that's this beautiful thing, and this tavern right next to it that looks like it was built in the capital city, and it's got beautiful pillars and marbles. And as you walk inside, the floors are the most beautiful sanded hardwoods, and there's a bar back on the tap, and there's not the single ounce or smell of stale beer or spilt liquor or vomit anywhere. This is a pristine establishment. If you've ever been to a tavern in other parts of Alyria, this would not match what you expect. And for a town like Broadfield to have something like this nice is really strange. And Roland's there, and as he sees you all kind of entering in, he just starts clapping and he says, I did not expect it, didn't expect it. The TTC. Welcome to the Gilded Ass Tavern.
Are you like out of game? Are you saying the Gilded Ass?
Yeah, like donkey.
Okay.
Yeah, Roddy. It's just a big gold ass.
There are buttocks.
It's also Roland is a gilded ass too. So.
Yeah. I didn't want to be that guy, but I was like, I gotta do this. Okay, all right.
I was wondering how long we could keep it going with nobody mentioning the name.
We're all
Well,
like
the first
really
time you
cool.
said it, because I know Atwood, I looked straight at his image on the screen just as you go, and okay, I heard that right. Okay, good.
Gilded ass.
No, ma'am. No, go lay down.
Yeah, Sully's causing problems.
She's never a problem.
And so he says, you all are the ones who get the right to potentially become members of the Adventurers Guild.
Potentially? I thought if we won the challenges, we would be the first guild for the town.
Oh, is that, who told you? No, of course not. You got to earn the right to potentially become a member. I can't just allow anybody to potentially become members.
That was extremely false advertising.
Yes.
On your part.
But not very clear.
I don't think so, but you are the winners. You won. Like nobody else gets the right or the challenge of potentially becoming a member of the Adventurers Guild.
Is there gold along with these winnings?
Oh, I mean, of course. Like, what else do adventurers do but get gold and other shiny things?
Avenge wrongs. They can avenge wrongs.
They can also do that. Yes, surely. Yes, of course. Of course, we're doing this for the good of Alyria. We're not doing this to line our pockets, of course. So, yes, but yes. Okay.
I mean, Kaimana got his ticket, so like this is already like a net win for.
You are sad.
The happiest little otter in the city.
And he says, but what this entails is, as the winners of today's competition, we have been given 4 potential jobs. As you all know, of course, as you're all good Illyrians, that guilds are very well respected in this world, and getting a guild established takes a lot of time and energy and money, but you also have to show that you can do what you say you're going to do. And so we have 4 tasks from local communities. You get to choose one. And how well you perform on that task will be able to determine whether or not. And at that moment, there's kind of this kick at the door, and Talvek kicks into the thing, and he says, I don't think that it's fair that the moose was able to compete in the competition. I just don't think. And Roland's like, Tavik, you lost your team, the Slaughterers. They didn't even win. They didn't even come close to winning. It wasn't even a thing. And Tavik, like,
You got 1 point.
We got 1 point. The rat is right. We got 1 point. So that speaks for something. But look at
Your
me.
ticket was taken.
Look at all of you. Like, sure, you can play festival games, but can you kill a dragon? Can you fight against a Knoll invasion? I say that the final challenge is my team versus your team. We each take a task and see who can get the task in the fastest amount of time.
I want to walk up to him.
Okay.
And I want to give him the like Finding Dory cute otter face.
Okay.
And give him one of my tickets.
Oh, I see.
So you like in the middle of Tavik challenging your team to another kind of task off. This moment happens with the like the Puss in Boots eyes just buried out, and the thing coming up, and Tavik kind of looks down. It's like, I don't even know what to do with you, and just he takes the ticket from you and says, but that doesn't change anything. I still challenge your team. Whoever can complete the task.
I'll hold out a second ticket.
I don't need the ticket. Somebody, it's not fair.
No.
It's too cute.
All of your tickets.
And Roland kind of says, you all won the competition. You can choose. You can be free and clear in completing the task and being not just potentially the first members, but the first members of the Adventurers Guild, or you can have another competition against Talvik and his group, the Slaughterers.
I don't mind the competition, but I would say that since we won, we get to pick which task we take, and we get to pick which task they take.
Talvik thinks about it for a moment and says, I think that's fair.
I am okay with those terms.
Okay. And so Roland goes, all right, well, I will describe our 4 tasks. The first task, which comes from a group of farmers north of Broadfield. I'm calling this one the Winged Terror. There have been reports in the open vale that some demonic beast has been terrorizing their flocks at night. Already, 3 sheep have been butchered in the night by whatever this demonic beast is. So, task number 1 is the Winged Terror. Task number 2, which I'm calling the Dragon's Horde. In the town of Northwick, just south of Broadfield, the local townspeople have said dragon people are raiding their homes while workers are away in the fields. Oh no, what happened?
You said the Northfield, the town south, or whatever the name of the town is north something, and it's south of where Northfield.
Really good.
Unintentional.
Alyria for you.
That's so funny. um,
West of
So he says-
Eastshire.
yeah, west of Eastshire. So he says, in the town of Northwick, the local townspeople have said that dragon people are raiding their homes while workers are away in the fields, and many priceless objects have been stolen. He says the third task is the lost, and he's like looking at the paper as he's reading it. He goes, the lost kitten. Apparently, a local noblewoman and a member of the patricians says that they need the Adventurers Guild to rescue their missing cat. And he kind of looks at it and he says, "I guess money will buy you anything, right?" And he says, and the final one, we're calling it "Through Sleet and Hail and All Dangers Delivery." The town of Ipswich is in dire need of assistance. The last 3 deliveries of tools and food from Broadfield to the small community have been intercepted, and 3 good men from Broadfield were killed by whatever has been intercepting these
Oh
deliveries.
no.
So the agreement was you get to choose your task, and you also get to assign a task to Talvik's group for the competition.
I say we take either the second or the fourth. Either the dragon sword, where the dragon people, and I look at Washbjord, thinking we might have an in on this one. Or the last one, which seems fairly straightforward. We also know how long it takes to get from here to there. And there's always the possibility that it won't get intercepted.
I was leaning for the fourth one.
Sounds good to me.
I don't know if we're strong enough at level 2 to take on dragons.
I don't know any dragon folks, actually.
That is surprising.
I know.
Should we give the slaughterers the kitten task? I want them to have something we know they can do.
Really kind of you.
I
I
was
think-
thinking
like that idea.
either kitten or the winged terror, because at nighttime that would be difficult. Plus, fighting things that are flying, that will be a challenge for them. Or the kitten,
I feel
because
like we should give them a win. You know, they've had a hard day.
kitten it is.
Okay, so you're assigning the kitten task to the slaughterers, and you are all taking the delivery challenge.
Correct.
All right. And so Tava kind of looks at it and he goes, and we can do this task in 48 hours. Do you all think you compete against that?
We're leaving in 5 minutes.
It takes them 48 hours to find
The kitten.
And Tavik looks at you, Mario, for a second and goes, I mean, at most 48 hours.
right.
You know, it'll be less time than that, for sure.
So that's the
You've
number.
never
you
hunted a
put
cat
forward,
before, have you?
so.
And he turns and walks out of the Gilded Ass Tavern, and goes back to join his group. And
Enunciate.
I could just picture him trying to explain to them what they're going to have to do.
they find a missing cat. And so Roland kind of takes the card and hands it off to, he assumes is the leader of the group, just because they spoke to him before, and hands it off to Abel. And he says, well, it seems like a time limit has been set and a challenge has been chosen.
Where's the wagon?
TTC. You're more than welcome to stay here tonight and get a fresh start in the morning. Or you can start on your journey now. The wagon has been prepared and is at the general store out back behind where all the festival things are taken. And you may speak to my wife who runs the store. Her name is Joss, and she can direct you in where you're supposed to be going and how to get there.
Okay. What time of day is it?
So it's, I mean, at this point after the competition and after kind of all of the revelry and everything, it's probably approaching mid-afternoon to kind of not quite dusk yet, but mid-afternoon time.
Okay.
I say we go now.
Yeah. Let's
Also,
stop by
with
and let's stop by really quick and just get some more info from Josh. Joss, like what time of day are these attacks happening?
that was part of my thought of going. If some of the journey is at night, they might be asleep and not expecting anybody to go down the trail. So
yeah.
let's go get the information about the wagon.
Okay, so as you're gathering your stuff to head back out of the tavern, we'll go ahead and take a quick break in case anybody needs to go to the bathroom or anything like that.
I got pee.
Yeah. How late were you guys hoping to run tonight before we?
10:30.
Okay. Yeah.
I have
Let's
no
say
life.
10.
10. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like looking at the challenge that you guys picked. You probably make it through the challenge part of it for sure by 10 o'clock. So that's good.
And
All right.
real,
So we'll
quick,
take,
real quick before break, Josh.
Yeah.
Was there a description or an illustration of the missing kitten in the flyer?
I'll let you roll a post because he was kind of waving the cards around.
Okay.
I'll let you roll a perception check to see whether you or not you caught a glimpse of it.
All right, let's
What
see.
if we solve our problem and theirs?
That's that's
One
a
was north
9.
and one was south. So 9. You caught a glimpse. It looked like a cat maybe, but it did look like it had more than one tail.
We chose wisely.
Yeah.
All right, so
That was the red herring of the.
100%. So we'll see.
And I just the idea of the big burly guy going, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty."
It's like long sword on his back, doing the little look.
All right, so it's 9 o'clock. We'll come back together at is 10 minutes enough time for everybody?
Yeah.
All right, 9, 10. All right, thank you. All right, so welcome back from the break. And we're going to go ahead and jump right back in right after the now totally aptly named, since they did manage to get 6 tickets. The Ticket Takers Club has accepted their first challenge from Roland to join the Adventurers Guild. So you guys you accepted a challenge from Talvek, who was disgraced and beaten, but you graciously allowed them the opportunity to redeem themselves in a final challenge to see who would be the founding members of the guild. You accepted a challenge to deliver goods from Broadfield to a neighboring town and a neighboring town of Ipswich. And Roland directed you to speak to Joss, his wife, at the general store. So you guys are heading out of the Gilded Ass Tavern to head that way.
I'm sorry I asked now. I'm sorry.
Someone had to do it.
It's still ass, but it's fine. So
so we're heading to the tavern.
To the general store. You're leaving the tavern.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
And just from your jaunt around the square when you were doing the egg hunt, Abel, that like the tavern is kind of in that second quadrant area. The general store is at the corner where the main thoroughfare comes into this mall section of town. So you kind of that's where you actually found the golden egg. So you know kind of where this building is.
Okay. So say are we all ready to go?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So we just, as a very proud and accomplished group, we all just like saunter over to the general store.
So you get to the general store, and the general store, like the other major buildings on the mall, look fresh and new. So the town hall, fresh and new. The Gilded Ass Tavern, fresh and new. The general store that's owned by Roland's wife is also fresh and new. It's this beautiful structure. It doesn't look like your old-timey general store at all. Has displayed objects in the window. The front entrance is these kind of double hanging doors, and you kind of go up.
Macy's.
Yeah, Macy's. It is the the old fantasy version of ye old Macy's. Yes, and when you get to the front doors, the doors are closed and barred, and there's a sign on the front that says "At Broadfield Souvenirs."
Yeah.
Same woman.
Two tasks, one location. This is fortuitous.
Hey.
Yeah.
Uh,
Which Kaimana does very clearly remember the location
Yeah,
of this place.
I know where we go. I can take you there.
All right.
Okay.
So you all follow Kaimana around, and it's not too far. Sully just tripped and fell. It's not too far down the road. She's like slipped on the linoleum. It's fine. And you get there, and the woman behind the table is this kind of plump, kind of half elvish woman. She has slightly pointed ears, blonde hair, kind of around something. She's wearing a beautiful, beautiful dress for being the wife of the mayor of a small town, and she kind of sees Kaimana coming, and she says, "Not you, unless you have tickets. Remember these things. You must have tickets to purchase these things."
I'm gonna hold up all 5 tickets.
Oh, well, you've got tickets. Come. Yes, good. What would you like then?
I'm definitely gonna go back to the snow globe because that was the last thing that I
So
noticed.
you go over to the snow globe, and she says, "The snow globe is 4 tickets."
That'll leave one, so you can still get a second thing.
I will give everybody in the party 1 ticket.
Oh no!
I'll give it
I give
back.
mine. I give mine back.
I give mine
Okay.
back too.
This is
No,
unnecessary.
I give mine back.
That was great character work. You earned this.
Yeah, exactly. Are there more? Should there be more than 6 tickets? Did we each get 2
There
for
were
our?
6, but he gave away a ticket.
Oh.
Yeah, the performance and the
Didn't it?
scavenger hunt weren't ticketed events.
Tickets. Oh, I'm sorry. I was not paying attention. Okay.
That's okay.
So we've got the snow globe. What else is on it? You said a bunch of souvenirs, right?
Yeah, there's souvenirs. There's like there's little kind of what look like just kind of wooden placards. They're very, very small and very, very thin and cheaply made, but they are kind of burned with Broadfield, Crossroads of Alyria. There are a couple spoons that are like small little, they're not silver, but they're very polished nickel maybe, spoons. And when you kind of turn them over on the back, there's like this really stylized bee written on them. There's thimbles, small little silver thimbles. There's a couple wooden like goblets that have the skyline of Broadfield painted on them, with like
the golden butt.
yeah, with the golden with like a fancy arch, the fancy arch from the front of town, and you can kind of see that the
Live, love,
skyline that's
laugh,
painted on the
shine.
goblet is like an idealized version of the skyline. Like there's an aerodrome with a docked airship on it, and like all these things, and like you kind of, one of you holds up the goblet and kind of looks at it in comparison with the town, and like where the aerodrome is just like scaffolding, and not even half a tower is complete there.
No.
But it's definitely a vision of what Broadfield could be. But there's kind of objects like that.
Okay. Tempting as the snow globe is, how much are the spoons?
The spoons, she kind of says, "Oh, but the spoons are 2 tickets for 1 spoon."
I'm gonna look back at the group and be like, I really want this spoon.
You should have this.
Is it possible to purchase a ticket?
No, the only way to get the tickets is to play the games.
Well, don't you think that he played hard enough to just get both of them?
The snow globe and the the spoon? And you have
Mhm.
5 tickets? And she kind of thinks about it for a second. Roll a persuasion check there. Wash Bjord.
Can
Let
I
the
can
bard
I
make a
assist?
persuasion check. Yes.
Yeah, you can
16.
roll with advantage because the otter. How are you helping him out there, Kaimana?
Looking pathetic.
So you can roll with advantage.
Oh, 16 was better.
Okay, so with the 16, so she kind of looks and she goes.
What's your persuasion bonus?
6.
So did you add your persuasion bonus? Okay, so 16 with that. Okay, yeah. So she kind of looks at it and she's like, "Fine, you can have the spoon and the snow globes for 5 tickets."
Like wide eyed, just like so happy. Like I have one in hand. Slide the tickets across.
She kind of hands them over to you, and when you kind of when you stop shaking it long enough to see, when the little they're not even it's not even it's just like wet paper on the inside that's forming the thing, and you can probably over time this is probably going to get gunky and just kind of lodge down to the bottom, but I don't know if you care. But what you see in there is another like it's like an idealized, and it's you can tell it's like a small little version of the tavern and a small little version of the town hall and the aerodrome. Like apparently they're really obsessed with the aerodrome. It appears in all of the marketing for this town.
All right, I am putting this under my treasure table.
There you go. You can add a nickel spoon and a small snow globe. All right, but this is where you were directed to come from the general store. So
We let her know that we've going to be delivering the wagon of goods to Ipswich.
oh, right. You were the victors of the challenge, which means you are potentially the founding members of the Adventurers Guild, correct? Yes. So I have a steady business with the town of Ipswich. We send them farm goods and tools, and they have a small mining outpost there in the hills, and they send us the raw materials back, and we are able to trade those with other towns. But the last few deliveries of food and of tools were intercepted, and the delivery drivers were killed. We've lost 3 people in the last few weeks, and so we're looking for the next shipment. It's very urgent that they get this shipment. We're looking for it to be delivered, and if possible, to figure out what's been causing this delay in our delivery lines.
Has anyone seen any of the attackers?
No, the last trip after we lost the first 2, we did send a couple people rather than just one delivery driver. But when they were attacked, it was nighttime, and they were unable to see what attacked them, and they were knocked unconscious. And thankfully, they survived, but their friend did not make it, and they weren't able to see who completed the attack.
And the attacks are at night?
Apparently, it's hard to know when the first 2 attacks occurred, but the third definitely occurred shortly after dark.
What other information might we need to know to complete our mission safely?
Well, I will provide you with the horse and with a cart. I only have 1 horse though, so some might have to walk or there's not enough room on the cart. It's loaded.
It is okay. We have an elk.
She looks around and she's a little confused because she doesn't see an elk.
You just made Atwood do a spit take with Robin.
She's kind of a little confused, but she's like, oh, yeah, that perhaps might come in handy. I've never worked with elks myself before, but they're large. So, but Ipswich is about 10 miles out of town. So typically it might take somebody an hour or 2 to make the trip. With our horse, she's getting old, so it might be more like 2 or 3 hours, loaded down as she is. But it's not a far trip, but apparently it has grown dangerous.
Well, we don't want anything to happen to your horse, so maybe we should leave the horse here and I'll carry the cart.
And she
Oh.
again is confused because the little one is offering to carry. Well, it is a very large cart, and it is loaded down with many very heavy objects of tools and
Don't talk
food.
down to him. Don't talk
No,
down.
I think we can handle it. Just trust us on that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm manning the souvenir stall, but the cart is parked at the back of the general store. My assistant Reggie is there. You may speak with him, and he can unlock the stall for you, and then you're free to go. And you can return to me when you have completed the trip, and I'll sign off for your completion for Roland.
Excellent. Off we go.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys head out. You go back to the general store and kind of walk around behind, and there's a small kind of alleyway that goes between it and another store next door. And when you get to the back, there's kind of like a larger back alley where they're kind of using this for kind of deliveries coming in and things. And there's a young teenage half orc male kind of sitting there, and he's just kind of kicking at the dirt. And like you can see he's got something that looks a little maybe like a cigarette that he's rolled himself, and he's kind of puffing at it a little bit. And he hears you coming, and he like quickly throws it to the ground and starts stomping it out, and then looks up and sees, oh, well, I thought it was her, not you. I don't know who you are, but I just wasted a perfectly good whatever cigarette or whatever that was. I don't know. What can I do for you?
We are here to deliver the supplies to Ipswich.
Oh, the next the martyrs on the journey, I suppose. But they're sending more than two, I guess. It might be better. Okay, and he kind of goes over and he unlocks the stall door and opens it up. And as the door opens, you can see a fairly old-looking kind of Clydesdale mare there, and he brings her out. And there's a cart next to her, and he kind of lashes her to the cart. And so you'll be taking.
No.
What?
The horse is staying. She deserves
You-
rest.
But you're taking the cart, right?
Yes.
You have your own horse.
I could
So
stay
okay.
in B shape for a number of hours equal to half my druid level, so that's
So
1
1
hour.
hour.
So from what we've heard, do we know if it's going to take an hour to be ambushed?
She said between an hour and 2 hours to get to Ipswich.
What if
But
we?
that was based on the speed of the horse. How fast? Like, what were you planning on transforming into?
Elk.
An elk. Let's see. Do you have the
What if
elk's
we-
movement speed there?
Bring the horse
Yeah.
and just let her follow behind the cart. She might travel a little faster if she's not pulling it. So if if you have to like get out of your elk shape, then we can attach the cart to her.
Good point.
That way she's not
movement speed of
Yes.
50.
50. Okay.
What's a horse?
Yeah, I mean,
we just have the rat pull it. He's got a 45 speed.
Horse has a. Horse
think
is not in
hers
the monster manual.
only 40. I
A
think
war
hers is only
horse has
40
a
'cause she's
movement
draft.
speed of 60, but that's a war horse.
Yeah, she's not a war horse. She's a draft horse. Her movement
draft
speed is 40. So you're 10 faster than her. So I would say that you can, if you're moving at full speed, you can probably guarantee that you would get it there. You would probably get to Ipswich within an hour and a half or so.
Okay, and they're probably at the maximum amount of space in between. This is out of character. Maximum amount of space in between town. Like they're not going to be right on the outskirts. So it's really only going to take us between 30, 45 minutes maybe to get ambushed by these punks.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean you didn't get a sense of where the ambush took place in your conversation with Joss, but you do know that it happened between here and Ipswich, so you might only be 30 minutes out from where the ambushes took place.
Yeah.
All right. Even after the ambush, we're still gonna have to like get the goods there, right? So I still think we should bring her and just hook her to the back of the cart. So
Makes
after
sense.
everything is over, she doesn't have to work as hard, but if we need her to pull it part of the way, she can.
Okay.
We'll have her
So do
pull
you-
it out of town for like a little bit and then switch over.
Yeah. Let her
Okay, cool. So
rest.
Reggie's still kind of
Yeah.
looking there like, so do you want me to hook up the horse or not?
Tie her to the back of the wagon.
Okay. And so he goes and tires her to the back of the wagon, just kind of by her halter.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of like situate myself at the front of the wagon. I like put my staff, my pack, everything like in the wagon.
And so Reggie's watching this small otter like standing between the yokes of the wagon, and is just like, and you're gonna pull the wagon like that.
Done. And like immediately giant elk.
Okay, so he oh god, okay. And he's like, he kind of is like, he grabs some rope and he's like trying to figure out how to tie. He's like kind of reaching up to kind of tie a kind of a bridle around your neck and attach it to the wagon. But eventually he fashions something that kind of allows you to pull against the wagon's weight.
All right.
And
Right,
another
I'll
good
make-
thing about going this route is whoever's attacking will underestimate our party because they won't know about.
That's
the
right.
mana.
They won't know about the huge elk.
Well, they'll know it's an elk, but they'll expect it to be a creature who's not going to be part of the fight versus it being Kamana.
Oh.
So
This
so
is
they're
very
going to
true.
think,
Right. So Reggie kind of points. And he says, "Well, you can take the car out that way, and then through the square. My recommendations: don't take the main road out of town. You can take the north road, and then circle back down because the main road is kind of blocked off with all the festival traffic. But you can go that way. It'll be right past the tavern is where you want to head.
All right.
All right, so you kind of
Okay.
hop in. Are you just allowing Kaimana to kind of direct, or is anybody sitting in the driver's seat?
I'll sit in the driver's seat.
Right, Mar pops up in the driver's seat. There's probably space for two of you
I'm
up
walking.
there. Okay.
Oh,
I will get on the back of the cart.
I'll
Like,
get on the
you
back of the car too.
So you're walking behind the cart there, Wash, and
No, they're sitting on the back. They're sitting on the back of the cart.
okay, there's probably a little lip maybe there for two of you to kind of do that. And then you're kind of walking to behind the cart a little bit.
I'm
Source,
walking in
or
front
on
of
the
it.
side? You're going to walk in front. Okay, so you're leading the cart. Cool. So you guys are making your way you make your way down, and you kind of leave that little alleyway and you go past the tavern. If you have a proficiency in perception, roll perception check.
Chrissy's a little dot, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me check wild shape really quick.
Indeed. Okay. I
You
rolled
maintain
a
your proficiencies, Atwood.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, because your wisdom and intellect stay the same.
Gotcha.
15.
13, so yeah.
13 as well.
Take my proficiency in perception.
Yeah.
I'm too in character as an elk. That's a nat 1.
So just kind of as you're passing by the tavern, you rolled did you say 15, Source?
15.
15. Okay. So as you're kind of walking at the front of this crew with the elk and now the horse in the back, you do see Roland. He comes out onto the patio of the tavern, and he starts making his way over towards the town hall. And then he stops because he notices there's kind of a figure in a cloak standing kind of leaning against town hall, and then he quickly goes back inside the tavern, and you kind of see that before you leave.
What color cloak?
Just black.
Oh, that's not ominous at all.
Not at all.
Nothing shady about that.
So Roland evacuated from the Gilded Ass and then re-entered the Gilded Ass. So then you all head out of town. So as you're making this travel from to Ipswich, it's 10 or 15 miles. There's going to be a couple perception checks on the journey. So who would like to helm the first perception check?
Who's got good perception? Mine's
really good. I'm
okay.
just an
Mine-
elk.
Mine's pretty good. I can do it.
I'm like a +2, so I'll let you guys.
And,
Yeah.
and
You
you
want me
can
to go
always
for it?
help. You can always help and give advantage if you want on those. Yeah.
I'll help, but
I'll help. I will help the elk since I'm walking up front in front with it.
Who was the first roll?
I rolled and I got a dirty 20.
A dirty 20. Okay. So for the first leg of the trip, the first kind of clearing out of town and kind of heading out, this part of Broadfield. So Broadfield is in the Riverlands district, and so there's just crisscrossings of streams and things in most of the areas. And then between all the streams and rivers and things, there's large expanses of farmland. But there are a couple kind of hilly copses that are ringed with trees and things. And as you're kind of just sitting there enjoying this this kind of trip with the elk driving the cart, Mar, you do notice kind of heading your way on this main road that kind of crosses in front of Broadfield. There are two figures kind of approaching in from the distance, and probably in the next 10 or 15 minutes or so, you'll pass by them.
I'll point him out to Saurus. And see if I can get the elk to notice. I don't know how to deal with the elk at all. So I'll just kind of like tap him and then like just kind of like point.
no.
If you tell me, he's going to hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still see her doing that
I
anyway.
don't know how to no, I don't know if he can understand words as the elk. That is my issue. I have no idea how the fuck wild shape works.
No,
at all.
which is because I can see Mar telling stories and then tapping the elk and giving like the
Yes.
army signs, you know.
Yes, that is what is happening.
All right, so as you guys are kind of driving that way, and the two figures are getting closer, they come more clear. One is a fairly kind of tall. They're both humanoid in shape, but one is taller and very broad, and they're both wearing very similar robes. Not very fancy at all, but kind of greenish in color that are lined with like a silver brocade on the outer sides of them. And one is a tall human male, and the other is a much shorter gnomish female. And they both have these kind of gnarled wooden walking sticks that kind of come up, and hers has like leaves sprouting off the top, and his is kind of flowering in these like bright white nightshade, like not nightshade, whatever those baby's dress type flowers. Yep. Two completely different types of flowers.
Do we
And they're
recognize?
kind of-
Do we recognize the robes from being of a particular order?
Let's see. I'm trying to roll a history check, and then if the only other, let's see, Abel definitely wouldn't. Mar and Wash, you can also roll a history check as well.
9.
9.
14.
15.
15. Okay. So Wash and Mar, you do kind of have faintly like a kind of in your general like schooling or conversation of Illyrian culture that you might have experienced growing up. You recognize that this particular pattern of gold and silver brocade is a symbol of the Order of the Moon, which is a band of druids who work with the Watchmen and kind of patrol the forested regions of the world, specifically dealing with problems in like vegetation and problems with like blights or poisons in the farmland or things like that. And they're kind of approaching up to you, and they don't look like they're intending to stop, but they do kind of wave as you guys are passing by.
As a rat leading a giant elk, pulling a cart. Not the weirdest shit they've ever seen, though.
To Order of the Moon, it's like second nature for them, I'm sure. So
I'd recognize him as druid, wouldn't I?
uh, I was trying to think with your particular background. Um, yeah, I think getting close, you probably recognize some of the iconography of what they're doing, and like the staff in particular draws your
Yeah.
attention because it's really similar to your staff, and they don't have like trinkets dangling off it, but like the beauty of the flowers, kind of, they're very similar in make. So you kind of, as in your elk shape, are kind of looking at this, and you're like, oh yeah, like you recognize some kinship there.
I just like bow my head as we go by.
And they kind of bow. Safe travels. The taller male says as you're kind of walking by.
And to you as well.
Thank you. And they keep on trekking by, and they kind of
Should
they
we
keep
have
walking.
something? I feel like
Hmm?
just the way
They
you
keep on walking past you, and they're heading back. You get you're not exactly sure what direction they're moving in, but Broadfield is on that path. But then, of course, it's the main road that goes back into other areas of Alyria as well. So they're kind of keep heading by. All right. And then for the second leg of the journey, who's going to man a perception check for that?
I'll give it a shot, and if there's
And
anything
I'll assist.
untowards, I'll bellow.
Okay, so you get roll advantage.
I get to reroll ones. I remembered that from the 2 11s. So that is a 17. 2 17.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, 17. Okay, and so at this point of the trip, you are probably, 6 or 7 miles out of town. You're probably over halfway, and the sun is definitely setting in the horizon. And you come to a point where one of the major rivers of this region cuts close to the road, and the road actually travels along this river for a while. And as you're kind of going up ahead, maybe just at the edge of the field of your vision, Kaimana, you see that there are 2 logs that are fallen over and blocking the road.
I believe our friend sees.
What is it, boy? Timmy's falling down a well?
Oh my god.
Like nod.
I try and look where he's nodding.
Okay, and just at the edge of the field, just with his help pointing in that direction, you can see that there are 2 like old trees that are kind of falling down, and there is a forest that kind of runs alongside on one side of the road with the river on the other side. So you're not sure if if these is just a downed tree or not, but there are 2 logs in the road.
I will go ahead and check. I'm going to run ahead and scout. But I let the others in the cart know that there's trees down ahead, probably an ambush.
Okay, are you kind of running ahead, or are you doing it stealthily?
I'm going to run ahead.
Okay. All right. And so you kind of run forward. As you're approaching it, go ahead and make a perception check, Rob, or source.
Where's my perception? I'm having to switch back and forth between 2 screens. Perception 10.
10. So as you're approaching, the 2 logs, one of them looks like it was very like naturally, like it probably just fell out of the nearby forest. But the other one, you can very distinctly see there are drag marks that drug it from the edge of the forest to its current location.
Okay, can I dart into the woods in the direction that it was dragged from?
Okay, so you dart into the woods, and as you're going, so there's very clearly a place you can see a cut log right at the edge of the forest, or a trunk where something has cut this out, and then it's dragged from there to its location. Beyond that, it's just forest is kind of as far as you can see. If you want to go into the forest a little bit.
I want to do that, and what I want to do is kind of circle around, so I'm coming up the backside. Basically, if I'm setting up this ambush, I'm doing an enfilade, V pattern crossing for attack point. So I'm going to go around to behind that, and then work my way back to where the logs are felled.
All right, and as you're kind of heading in the forest, to your right, as you're going in, there's a kind of a ridge that starts to form up on the side, and kind of goes down the length of the forest. So do you want to go up towards the ridge that way, or do you want to just go straight in and kind of bypass the ridge?
Well, ridge would be a nice natural place for people to be hiding behind. So I'm gonna stealth up that way.
Stealth up. Okay, go ahead and make a stealth check.
Okay, my stealth. Okay. 24.
24. Okay, so you feel pretty stealthy as you're heading in, and so you're kind of moving slowly through this. Go ahead and make a perception check to cover kind of your view of what's going on up here.
9.
9. So with the light kind of fading, even though you do have dark vision, it's still kind of difficult to tell.
I have one eye, so
one eye. So even like dark vision and depth perception are all problems with this or whatever. But as the light fades, the grays start to kind of mix with the grays in the forest, and you can't make out anything that looks out of place. And you pause a few times and listen, but you don't hear anything that's out of place. Are you going to continue to kind of circle around the ridge to kind of connect back to where it ends with the road again?
Yes.
Okay.
And I figure if with the moose's warning and me running up and then suddenly dashing off the road, I'm counting on the rest of the party slowing down or not being stupid, at least.
Okay. And
I would have stopped the elk by this point.
Yeah.
You stop the elk. Do you want to go ahead and are you looking around and keeping an eye out there, Mar?
Yeah, I will.
Right, go ahead and roll a perception check for the general cart.
9.
9.
9.
Okay, so you're kind of looking out.
9 is German for no, you didn't succeed on that roll.
Yeah. Forest, sun is almost down completely at this point. You're not quite sure. You're just keeping an eye out. All right, and then so make another stealth check as you're moving through this, Saurus.
Dirty 20.
A dirty 20. Good. So, and then for the second leg of it, a second perception check.
6.
A 6. Okay.
Yeah, I have proficiency with my stealth, but not so much. And the funny thing is, I do actually have proficiency with perception.
Well, you're lucky because I just rolled back-to-back nat 1s. So as you're kind of moving through you pause, you're kind of very stealthily kind of moving through as the best you can. You do kind of break a couple twigs or whatever, but you don't know if anything hears you around. But you do kind of, as you're approaching, you're kind of circling around the ridge, you do hear maybe 15 feet away from you towards the ridge. You hear some voices.
Can I tell what they're saying? Or at least what language it is?
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. What is their? I'm trying to, because you have beast speech, so I'm trying to.
Yes.
You can't understand what they're saying, but it does sound canine in origin, but they are actually speaking.
What?
Like almost like canine or doggish or like a hyena type, like you know. But there are actual words. It's not beast speech. So.
Okay. I'm gonna sneak up on him.
Okay. So you kind of you sneak up 5 or 6 feet closer, and just kind of shadowed against the ridge. And beyond them, you can see like they have a pretty good view of the road, but road roll really crappy perception, so they haven't spotted the cart yet. There are 2 gnolls kind of crouched at the ridge. One of them has a short bow pulled out and an arrow knocked, and the other one has a short bow at its side, but isn't currently ready to fire with it or anything.
And from where we are, do we still have a line of sight on Saurus? Or
The last thing you saw was Saurus disappear into the woods, and you haven't seen him since.
Okay. I am going to jump the one with the arrow.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm gonna get a bluff. My goal is I'm gonna get a whack in. If I take him down, great. If not, I'm going to use my breakaway with my Windfoot Celerity, where the enemy opportunity attacks have disadvantage on turn 1, and difficult terrain doesn't cost you extra movement, to then run away. So I'm gonna get a good shot in.
So this is considered a surprise round for right now. So because he did roll a natural one as perception, so you get your attack. He doesn't know that you're coming, so you creep up to them and go ahead and roll. Are you doing attack and bonus attack? Whap, whap.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and make your 2 attacks.
Are they with advantage because of surprise?
Yes, they are surprised.
First one, 23.
It hits.
With my massive 1d4 of damage. I do 5 damage.
Okay, 5 damage. All right, and your second attack?
This one is a 24.
Hits. Go ahead and roll damage on that one.
That's 6 in damage.
So a total of 11 on your first. Okay, so you kind of creep through the woods, and these 2 are kind of like chattering with each other, like, and you get close to it. You were like, okay, canine. No, it's very clearly more like hyena type speak, but they're speaking words to one another and kind of chittering. And then out of nowhere, you just crack one, and then kind of do an uppercut with or a left, kind of uppercut hook with your second swing.
Non-lethal.
And it's kind of like boom, boom, and it's dazed, but it's not knocked out. But now they're both reaching for their weapons. So you've got a bonus action for your surprise round and movement if you want to take it.
Yeah, I'm going. Well, the bonus round was my second attack.
Well, your bonus round you get an action, right? So you get.
Yeah. I have 1 attack as my action.
Right. So
my bonus action is the second attack.
And then
I'm just going to leave.
Okay, you're going to go ahead and leave. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up the map so you all can see what's happening. And what Saurus has seen so far. Then while I'm pulling that up, if everyone wants to go ahead and roll initiative, and we'll finish out his surprise encounter.
Roll initiative. D&D Beyond.
Dirty 20.
All right, I'm kind of trying to.
Oh my god! I rolled a 5.
Is that after your modifier?
Yeah. Oof. It's pretty cool. D&D website adds all that for me.
Oh, that's
it's like
great.
get proof, which is exactly what I need.
Yeah, I think Grace is even that too.
Yeah, but I like rolling. Yeah, but I like rolling in real life. It's fun.
Ben has not seen my dice collection. He does not know that I am a dice holder.
Wow.
They're all metal, except for the big giant red ones, which light up when you roll a nat 20.
All right, so
The battery's dying, but it's still great.
Here, this is where Saurus is doing his attack. He's yellow.
Is that grass?
Kaimana is this light blue. Mar, you're the red. Wash, purple, and Abel, you got the blue. So for your movement, Saurus, you're
45.
gonna dive off the side of the
Yeah.
ridge. Okay. It's only 10 feet, so you, with your monk fitness, you can make that pretty clear. So we'll say 10.
And I'm gonna basically duck behind the felled tree so that I'm in cover.
This one here or the closer one?
Closer one.
Okay, cool. All right, so you get there. So that takes us into our initiative. So, Wash, what was your initiative?
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay. Mark,
22.
22. Oh my gosh. Abel,
5.
okay. Kaimana,
16.
16, and Source,
8.
8. Okay, and
I'm
then,
sliding into cover.
all right, and then we've got. All right, so at initiative count, or no, you guys beat initiative count 20. So, Mar, you are up first, and currently you don't have an eye on anything because the walls are still in the woods, so you can't see what you just saw Saurus tumble out of the forest, jump over this ridge, and then kind of get into the dirt and the road and hide this thing. Yeah.
And I yell attackers or something to that effect.
All right.
Attackers on the ridge.
I'm gonna bonus action do my Crimson Right. So I take the brass knuckles, I do the spikes on him, and I just drive it into my arm, and I take 3 points of damage.
Okay.
But I pull out I do that with my rapier, and I let some of the blood kind of get on there, and it starts glowing with lightning.
So it's lightning crackle up the blade. Okay. What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's your bonus action. Right?
Yes, that's my bonus action. I'm going to move just close to where that kind of cliff area is, but not right on it. Yeah, I don't want to go over it. That's great.
5 feet away from it or so?
Yes, and then I'm gonna hold my action to attack if any of them get in melee.
Okay, so
you could
melee. Okay.
Because of your melee, you get a react. Well, no, you're not. You're not sentinel. Never mind.
Yeah. So as soon as something gets within melee range of you, you're going to take a swing with your, and we'll play that you get your full attack and bonus attack with withheld actions, because otherwise it's kind of a waste of an action. So
I would have used my bonus action.
Oh, you already used your bonus. So get the one attack. Good. All right. Cool. So that takes us to Wash.
Yes, I'm gonna use my action and my bonus action to give Saurus and Mar a bardic inspiration. And so I quickly put on my mask and I'm like, it's time to get some tickets.
And that's a 4-sided die.
I think 6. 1d6.
Level 2.
Yeah, it's a 1d6.
1d6.
All
So
right, I'll take that.
Mar and Source, you now have a d6 that you can add to any roll, thanks to his bardic inspiration. Do you want to move at all, or are you going to stay where you're at?
Yes, 2 squares diagonal towards the ridge.
The river.
Or-
Okay, yeah.
Or the ridge, the other way.
Oh, the ridge. Okay, so this way. Okay. Good. All right. And good. That takes us to the Knoll's turn. So now, kind of gathering themselves up, you hear this anger from the top, and these two kind of appear at the top of the ridge, and they're both knocking short bows, and they're going to take 2 shots at Saurus, who just punched the crap out of one of them. So
Do I get partial cover?
you're crouched down. Yeah, you're under half cover. So the first that's not going to hit you. That is a 11 to hit. Nope. And the second attack is less than that. So they kind of shoot both times. One of them just kind of clips the top of the the log you're behind, and the other one is still kind of dazed from your punch, and it goes wide, and you hear it splash out into the water of the river past you. And then to your right, Mar, behind you, you crashing out of the woods here, another gnoll starts charging forward with a spear, and you're kind of hidden from its view a little bit by the forest, but it pops out, and it was heading towards Saurus, but now it's charging towards you. You do get to go ahead and make your attack.
Great.
Bring the pain, baby.
18 to hit.
18 definitely hits. Go ahead and roll.
Right. Did it freeze?
I think so.
Oh, did it freeze?
Oh no, Grace froze.
Grace, no.
Oh, Grace messaged.
All her power is gone.
Power went out.
No.
That was a super strong lightning attack.
To review kind of what had happened right before Grace's power died. The third gnoll appeared and charged Mar with a spear. But Mar was holding her action. She got a hit off and did a pretty good hit against the gnoll. And so we're kind of ready to go from there. Everybody ready to pop in?
Yep.
All right. So I don't have any idea how. It'll be a cut, and I'll definitely put a thing that's like, we lost power. We'll come back.
All of us.
Yeah.
We had a
we all
national
lost
disaster.
power. There was a hurricane. All right. And so after Mar takes her swing and hits the gnoll, and the lightning breaks across its body, and you rolled for the extra lightning damage as well there, Mar?
Yeah, I rolled for everything.
Cool, awesome. Then it's going to complete its strike against you with its spear, two-handed, and that's probably not going to hit. It's a 11 to hit.
Nah.
Okay, so the strike from you kind of makes it go, it shocks it, and it goes off to the side, and the spear hits nothing, which takes us to Kaimana.
Great. So am I still tied up in the harness for the wagon?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Oh no.
Can he cast in moose form?
No.
Or elk form?
No.
Yeah.
That's tricky. So should I wait a turn for someone to free me and we've got a rampaging elk, or should I drop out of animal form and just go into it as Kaimana?
Oh man, this is.
Ben still has an action, yeah?
Yeah, there's
hasn't
some people
gone yet.
coming up after you. You wanted to hold, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll hold an action and jangle around in the harness.
Okay, so you're holding, and you're holding to stay in elk form, but to kind of do something with that. Okay,
Yeah.
So that'll take us to our next up is Saurus.
Source. Okay. We only had one come out of the side brush, which was fewer than I was expecting. I am going to go and jump back up onto the cliff on the far end to the right.
This
Yeah.
side over here. Okay.
Other side.
This side.
Other
Okay,
side.
so
Yeah. So just
okay.
straight up, launch up, so I can hit that guy there.
Okay, just go ahead and roll an athletic or an acrobatics check to clear the launch. I know you have jump, but yeah.
Acrobatics 22.
Okay, yeah. So you kind of charge across and you kick off the thing, and then you leave up next to this guy.
Is he the one I hit before, or is he a fresh one?
This is the one that you hit before. This is a fresh one.
Okay, what I'd like to do is try and kick him off the side of the ledge. Would that be a grapple roll, or
Just
what
do
would-
it as a I think it'd be a grapple roll. So you can go ahead and roll athletics on that.
That's going to be a 16.
16. Okay, it beats his. He rolled a 15. So you kick out, and he launches off, and he falls 10 feet into the ground. He takes 3 points of damage from the fall.
Go ahead and puts him down where you guys can get to him.
Yeah, and he's knocked prone from the fall.
Okay. And then
All right.
I'll use the rest of my movement, if I have any left, to close to the last guy.
You have 45 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, that you can get there. Absolutely. All right.
Good.
All right, that takes us to Abel.
Okay. How heavy would you say these logs here are?
Oh, they're probably a few 100 pounds.
Okay, so very large. How about this stone that you have here?
Well, yeah, there's these larger stones here, but in the forest brush, you can see that there are smaller, fist-sized boulder, little chunks of rock, or a little bit bigger.
Like 1 to 5 pounds, you would say?
There's probably one there.
Okay, all right. So along the brush here, I will take out a small metallic disc. It's like paper thin, and I'll aim it at one of the kind of smaller, about 5-pound rocks that's over there, and I'll toss it like Gambit style, and it'll slip expertly underneath this stone, and then through arcane magic, it'll cause the stone to catapult upwards towards the knoll that is the one that just came out of the brush there.
So the one next to Mar? Okay.
Yes, I cast the catapult spell.
All right, and that's a dexterity saving throw, is that correct?
Yes, he has
All right,
a dex save
of 13, I think.
of 13.
Okay. That is a 19. Does he take half damage, or does he just completely dodge the attack?
This is when you cast it on a failed save. The object strikes the target and stops moving when the object stops. It doesn't say.
Let me pull it up here really quick.
It says if the object would strike the creature must make a save. On a failed save, the object strikes the target and stops moving when the object strikes something. The object and what it strikes takes 3d8 bludgeoning damage.
That's a Xanathar spell, isn't it?
Yeah, that's weirdly written. On a failed save, the object strikes the target and stops moving. When the object strikes something, the object and what it strikes each take 3d8 bludgeoning damage.
Is that two separate sentences?
Yeah, it says on a failed save, the object strikes the target and stops moving. Period. When the object strikes something,
I
don't think it's damage.
Okay.
Damn
Yeah.
it.
So you guys, see him do this, and the object flies out, but the knoll's able to kind of dodge out of the way, and it just strikes harmlessly against the ridge to his back. Do you want to move at all there, Abel?
Well, will our elk friend need help getting out of his harness?
Yeah, and he doesn't have a postal.
He's gonna have an action before me. I think I'll just hold where I am for now.
Okay, so you're holding up your action, which takes us back to the top of the round is Mar.
Hey, the dude in front of me, I guess.
All right, go ahead and make your 2 strikes.
All right. Is a 13 gonna hit him?
It does not, unfortunately. So
Okay.
you strike out with the first hit.
Remind me how inspiration works. Would I have had to use it before you tell me if it hits or not?
You do not have to use it before you.
Okay, then I'll try using inspiration.
Okay, that's fine.
So wait, that's 13 plus 5, 18. Will that hit?
That will
Hell
hit. So you
yeah.
can go ahead and
All
make your
right.
strike. So with the inspiring words of Wash ringing in your ears, your blade connects, and go ahead and roll that damage.
Yeah. Technically, you're supposed to decide to roll it after you've seen your first roll, but before the effect is announced,
Yeah.
I believe. But first lesson, we're still learning.
Yay.
So that's 4 plus 5. That's 9 piercing damage and 2 points of lightning damage.
So 11 points of damage. So let me just. And so you strike through, and you kind of like whip through and just cleave through half of the gnoll's torso, and he collapses to the ground and is gone. So nice. Gonna move it all there, Mark.
Yeah, I want to get up to the other one up there.
Okay, so 5, 10, 15. This is kind of difficult terrain. What's your movement here?
It's 30.
30, so 5, 10, 15, 20. You can get right there opposite and give Saurus flanking with him, so that's good.
Heck yeah. Can I do my other attack? Because I have 2 on my other rapier.
You can attack and then move and bonus attack. That's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. No.
And it's with advantage.
I
because you are
don't.
flanking.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a 1, so that's better. That's a 20, not natural.
All right, that hits.
Okay, and then this is 8 points of damage.
8 points of damage. So you bound up through the forest and kind of leap up onto the edge of the ridge and then slice across. And this gnoll also takes the hit, almost drops his short bow in the process, and he's looking pretty hurt from that. So good round there, Mar. Next up is Wash.
I'm gonna go up next to Kamada and try to set him free.
Thank you.
All right, so you're untying the knots and things. Just roll a quick dexterity check for me.
Ooh, that's a 9.
If you tie me tighter in this damn harness.
9. So you in this round you managed to get one of the knots untied, but as you're working on the other one, you don't quite get it through in this round. But Kaimana, you are now only being held by a very loose band of like a leather strap.
Rampaging moose.
All right, which takes us to the gnolls. So this gnoll here is going to make a spear, or he drops the bow and kind of pulls the spear off his back, and he's going to make a attack against you, Mar, there, since you just charged up in his face. And that's cocked. Well, thanks for the cock. That is a 6 to hit, so definitely doesn't hit.
No.
I like it that I roll really well on anything that has nothing to do with an attack roll, and then all the attack rolls are absolutely crap. So there you
We're
go.
okay with this, just so you know.
Yeah, that's fine by me. Personally.
And so he's kind of panicking, and he strikes out against you, and you just parry it aside with one of your rapiers. And then this gnoll is going to get up using half of his movement, and he's going to go 5, 10, and then he's going to unleash on Saurus with his shot. And I say you're on the edge of the ridge, so you wouldn't have half covered with Saurus.
No,
so.
I'm seeing.
Okay, and that is a 16 to hit.
That does hit.
All right, so you take, I think 5 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
Yeah, 5. And that's the gnolls, so that brings us back up to Kaimana.
All right, I'm done playing around.
Yes.
I'm going to use my bonus action to dismiss my animal form.
Okay, so you shrink back down to your otter form, and the ropes just kind of fall off you as this is going. Okay.
Can I? No, that's a bonus action. Okay, never mind. I will empty all of the 10 smooth river stones.
Okay.
Out of my pouch that I have with me, and I will cast Magic Stone on 3 of them.
Okay. All right, and then you're gonna launch one of them at one of these guys.
I'm out of actions at that point.
Oh, you're out of. So you'd have to hold that for the next turn. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so you're prepared and ready to go. Do you want to move away from the cart at all?
No, but I'm gonna motion to Wash that these throw these.
So watch, Kaimana reaches up, holds up, and there's this beautiful little pebble stone, and it's kind of shimmering a little bit with some magical energy, and he's holding it up to you and saying to throw those. So that's, you got that. All right, does that end your turn there, Kaimana?
Yep, I'm gonna save one of the stones for myself.
Cool, and that takes us to Saurus.
Roundhouse kick to the back of the head on this guy.
All right, with advantage, go ahead.
One of the good things with having so many dice is I can roll them at the same time. Both of them are 13s plus 6, so 19.
Yeah, it definitely hits.
And then a lovely die 4, which will be total of 5 damage.
All right, so you roundhouse kick, and you connect with the side of the Knoll's head, and he flies off.
Non-lethal.
And he lands.
Oh.
You were going non-lethal, but he does land, and we'll say that he's unconscious and bleeding out on the ground for sure from the fall. Yep.
I'm going to jump down and move to the remaining Knoll.
Okay, so if, you can get right there.
And then I'm going to bonus action unarmed attack.
All right.
Natural 19 plus 6, so
That
that's
hits.
a hit.
Yep.
And this one is a total of 7 damage.
7 damage. All right, so you jump off and you charge down at the other Knoll who just failed to fire and hit you a moment ago with his bow, and you kind of just
He hit me, so he's going to get his ass kicked.
so he already hit you, yeah. So he punches you punch him to the side, and you knock him to the side, and he looks a little dazed from the hit, but he's still standing there. And all right, and that finishes up you there, Saurus. All right, that takes us to Abel again.
Okay. So can I move a little bit closer to the guy that Saurus is standing near?
Okay, like right there.
Yeah. And then I will pull out a little small, like, metal tool from my side pocket, and I'll click the little tongs together, and it'll make a spark, and I'll say, ignite, and I will shoot firebolt at that guy that is closest to Saurus.
All right, go ahead and roll a spell attack on him.
It's a 23 to hit.
All right, that definitely hits, and roll your D10, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. 9 points of damage.
9 points of damage. So, you all watch as this arcane bolt kind of coalesces at the front of this object and then fires across and burns across the Knoll's right flank, and he kind of lets out and he looks really hurt, like he's kind of on his last legs there. Which takes us back up to Mar, who now you're all the way up on the ridge, and the action is moved away.
Well, dang. Can I get in melee range with this dude on my turn or not?
You've got 30 feet of movement, so we can say 5, 10, 50. You could, but you'll need to clear an athletics check.
I'll
to
do
get
it.
off.
Can it be acrobatics though?
Yeah, acrobatics is fine. Yep.
Thanks.
Superhero landing.
What if it's like an 11?
It's only 10 feet, so it's not like it's super difficult. So you're able to clear, and you can get just in melee, but you lose the extra movement that you would need to get into flanking with him. So you can make it, your attacks. Yep.
That's totally fine. 23 to hit.
Hits.
Okay. Cool. So that is what are you? 6 plus 5 plus 1 is 12 points of damage total.
Right. And so you charge up the ridge, and with your rapier lightning, cackling with lightning, you just slice across, and
not lethal.
well, you tear through his arm.
I did my best.
We have one. We have one. You can kill this one. We still have the other one. It's still alive.
Yeah, and that one is gone. And
that's fine.
As far as you know, that kind of clears the battlefield. You guys got really lucky with their horrible perception checks not being able to surprise you. So you've got that. So you're now here. You've got kind of an unconscious Knoll bleeding out there.
I'm gonna go
medicine
tend
check
to the
try and-
unconscious knoll.
Okay.
I'll let the druid do that.
All right. Go ahead.
That gonna be a medicine check.
Yeah, if you want to stabilize him, but if you want to bring him back up, you'd have to, heal him in some way.
Yeah, I don't want to bring him back up because he'll just.
Okay, so you can roll medicine check to try to stabilize him.
Dirty 20.
All right, yeah. So you are able to kind of stop the bleeding after he fell. He kind of took a pretty bad head wound from hitting a stone, and you kind of are sitting there and you stopped the bleeding, and he's no longer bleeding out.
All right, I'm gonna let's see who's right near me. I guess I'll go back to Wash and just kind of let's get him on the cart.
Okay.
Okay. What do you want me to do with these pebbles?
Just drop. Oh no, I'll take those. They're good ones. I take them myself. I'll sew them back.
I go to
So
help
that
him.
takes there out of combat, and so you're gonna try to carry him onto the cart. Wash.
I suggest restraints around his arms, and of course, de-weaponing him.
I got rope, so I will
Okay, good. I
tie
was gonna
him
say
up.
Good.
Okay, so you restrain the knoll, and I mean the cart is kind of piled up, but you can put him up on top of the pile and lash him to it. And so you've got in addition to your delivery to Ipswich, you now have an unconscious knoll to also, I guess, deliver to the town as well.
A bunch of rednecks that went hunting.
But it's the Nolan season. Search the bodies.
Okay, go ahead and roll
yeah.
an investigation check.
And I'm going to use my inspiration on this because otherwise I have nothing to use it on. And altogether investigation, that's no bonus, so that's 25.
25. Okay, so on
I rolled a 19 and a 6.
between the three bodies, there are two kind of very simple longbows. There are the three spears, which are just kind of really crude implements with stone tips. Although one of them has a bone tip that looks like it was carved out of some kind of animal's bone. And then they have between them 16 gold pieces, 27 silver pieces, and 13 copper pieces.
Okay.
And then one of them had in a pocket kind of a pouch that was filled with what looked like just random little objects or trinkets. Like there's some shiny stones. There's some.
Oh, that totally goes to Kamana.
Okay, so it's just kind of a trinket pouch. Yeah.
I already got one of those, but
I can add to it. It's like, who would possibly be interested in? Oh, right.
The two bodies. Kaimana will walk over to them and start doing little prayers and motions over them in Druidic.
Okay.
Are these trees blocking our path? I believe you said the cart.
Yeah.
Pathway?
So one of the trees just kind of looks like it fell maybe off the ravine naturally, but the other one had been dragged into place. So you would either for your cart to clear through the road, you'd probably need to kind of get it out of the way somehow.
Great. I will request assistance with. It's like I'm smaller than live, but not strong enough to pick up a tree. Can someone help me move this?
Yes, Abel will come over and try to assist with moving the tree.
Okay, so one of you can roll an athletics check with advantage.
Athletics?
Yep.
Sure. That's a 13 and a 9. 13?
13. So it does take the two of you some time to pick it up and kind of drag it, and the sand and the dirt is kind of holding it against. You maybe lose 30 or 40 minutes of time, and the sun now is kind of fully set. But you do clear enough of a path that you can wind the cart between the two tree stumps, or the fallen over trees. Yep.
All right, so I guess we have to hook the mare back up, unless Kimana wants to elk again, or can elk again.
Let's hook the mare up.
Okay.
May I ride in the cart?
I picture Kimana sitting on top of the knoll.
Yep, absolutely. That's what I had in mind.
So Kamada hops up on top of the knoll, who is breathing shallowly in the cart, and then you guys hook up the mare. Who's going to be driving the cart?
I'll keep doing it.
Mar.
So Mar does that, and then we're kind of what's the general marching order? So Mar's in the cart, Kaimana's on top of the cart,
I'll
or
be
Abel
walking in front again.
and Wash kind of riding on the lip at the back.
Yeah, and I'll be keeping an eye out to make sure that there are no more knolls, probably hidden off somewhere along the path.
Yeah. Just from this, like the you didn't get enough information from Joss to kind of know the numbers or anything. Nobody really knew what was making the attacks, but the gnolls probably didn't expect to be encountering a larger group. But it is smart probably to keep an eye out for sure.
Yeah. And that's
Right.
the whole point of getting a prisoner, so that somebody who speaks Knoll can quiz them and find out if there are more and where their base may or may not be.
Exactly.
All right, so you guys are going to make your last. You don't know exactly how far you are from Ipswich, but they said an hour and a half, and you traveled over about an hour to get here. So you probably got 30 or 40 minutes or so to finish up your trip. So Rob, go ahead and roll a perception check for the front of the cart, and then not Rob, Source, and then Abel, if you want to roll a perception check, watching behind you as you guys are heading up the road.
19.
A 19, okay.
And I'm going to be playing the Song of Rest as we're riding along.
Oh,
Okay, so anybody who
What does that
is
do?
not... Oh, go ahead. Explain what it does there, Ben.
Oh, at the end of a short rest, whenever you heal, you get an extra 1d6.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so anybody who's not actively walking, so Saurus probably couldn't take advantage of this as a short rest, but if you're not actively walking, you could take advantage of a short rest here.
I get my wild shapes back.
There you go.
cool. I rolled a 19 on the perception.
Okay. So from behind Abel, you don't see anything kind of approaching the cart. There's no other gnolls that come out of the spot or anything. And Saurus, as you're kind of looking ahead, you kind of come up over a ridge, and off in the distance, maybe just a couple more miles, you can see the lights of a hamlet, a smaller town, kind of ahead. But something does catch your attention kind of slightly off to the right of the road. There's looks like a ring of stones, and there's a couple torches that are in the center of this ring of stones, kind of off, kind of near the river, off to the side of the road.
And how far away is it?
It's probably 10 or 15 feet off the road, and there's like a little small dirt path that kind of is heading that way.
From where we are, can we tell what it is, or is it like a campsite, or?
No, so what you see as you get up closer, and in the darkness, you with your you don't have dark vision, but Saurus does.
I have goggles of night, I think.
Oh, you do have the goggles of night now. That's right. Yeah. So you would see this too. There is a kind of not quite an obelisk, but like a crafted or carved stone piece in the center, and then there's a small kind of basin in front of it, and then there are very clearly placed 8 stones around the outside, kind of forming a circle.
Okay. If you want, I can run ahead and do another scout out like I did last time.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead and roll a perception check as you're moving in there, Rob.
Yeah, and I'm being stealthy.
Okay, and then yeah, stealth check as well.
Perception is a grand total of 7.
Okay.
And the stealth is a 9.
Okay. So you're moving very.
I had some great rolls on the 2 hits, so
Yeah,
it's
so
coming back around.
You win some, you lose some. So you're moving carefully. You think that you're not drawing too much attention to yourself. You don't see anything kind of as you're approaching, and you kind of come around, and you don't take the dirt path. You kind of go around the outside and come in that way. You don't see anybody in there, but it's just those 9. There's those 9 stones with the 8 outside and the 1 in the middle. But it doesn't look like there's any danger or anything around you.
Is there anyone in the circle? And
Nope.
where is the light coming from? Just like a couple of
There
braziers?
are, like, kind of behind the basin, there are 2 small, not like large torches, but 2 small torches that are kind of lighting up just that central location a little bit.
Well, I'm still new to this whole adventuring thing, so I'm going to walk in and take a look at the basin and see
Okay.
if there's any writing on any of the obelisk.
Yeah, go ahead and roll an investigation check.
This could be experienced. Rob knows this is probably a bad idea, but what did you say again? Investigation?
Investigation, yeah.
16.
16. Okay, as you get up closer to the basin, you can see there's some writing on the central stone that says Bellinor, and the basin looks like it was maybe once filled with water, but you see there's a large stone kind of on the ground next to it, and it looks like somebody maybe took that stone and hit the basin and cracked it, and so all the water's torn out. And in the center of the basin, there's a small figurine resting there.
I
You-
pick up the figurine and go take a look at it.
It's like, oh, I'll take it. Okay. So when you pick it up, it's a cloaked figure. And when you're looking at the back of it, there are 8 symbols on the back that look like they're almost half erased. So somebody kind of like half carved them and like smudged out the bottom parts of them. You reckon you speak common, so you would know the symbols. Their names, you recognize, like Bellinor is one of them, Metasansi, Stariel, Gaios. These are the names of the 8 gods.
Oh.
Okay.
But they are like, it's like half of the symbol. So it's like, instead of it saying Bellinor, it's the symbol for, it's like half of the symbol for Bellinor.
And you said it's carved, or is it inscribed? Basically what I'm trying to do is figure out, can I finish the symbol with something like a little?
So yeah, so the little figurine feels like it's made out of wood, and that somebody hand carved these symbols into it.
Unfortunately, I do not have wood carving as a skill set, so
I have wood carving. Oh well.
I'll wave the cart forward.
Okay. So you all move forward and join Saurus.
Yeah.
Proficiencies.
Does like the structure of the circles and the altar, does that like ring any bells with me?
Yeah, Wash, Mar, and to an extent as well, Kaimana, as all members of who grew up in Alyria, people who have seen this is a very typical roadside shrine to the 8 gods. And so the kind of the general symbol, and there's 9 stones, because one of the stones is for the god that abandoned everything else and started the subversion. But the 8 are the ones that are still kind of remaining. And so this is very typical, but the fact that it has been marred in some kind of way, that is atypical for sure. And this thing that Sora shows you, like, that's not a familiar figure at all, except actually, Sora's, roll a history check.
History. 18.
Okay, good. So as everybody's kind of approaching and you're looking at this symbol a little bit, or this figurine a little bit longer, it does strike a bell with you. You've seen something like this in the Rift before.
Okay. Do I remember any
You
more about it?
you do know that, like, let's say at one point in time, you maybe saw it and you asked one of the monks about it, and the monks just
Mhm.
told you that it's not something that you need to get involved with.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, yeah, when the gang gets there, I will show them this and what I found, and I will ask um, Abel if he can repair the fountain
Uh,
or the basin.
I do not believe I have the capabilities to. Uh,
It's not a very large. I mean, the basin's maybe, it's like a foot across. It's not a very large basin, and you can see the kind of the crumbled pieces that have fallen to the ground nearby. So if you had some way to kind of reattach
Do you know how
magically
to
or
make glue?
Mason's tools or Smith's tools, or
do you have mending?
I do have the mending spell
Okay.
cantrip. I will cast mending on the area and repair the broken basin.
Okay, so you take the pieces and kind of hold them up, and you cast the arcane spell, and you see kind of the energy seep down in and kind of repair the gaps in the basin, and then you pull back, and the kind of the glow resides from the arcane energy, and it's now a complete and full basin again.
And we see Soros looking at the figure, right?
Yes, I showed it to you.
Okay. Can I examine it closer?
Here you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Investigation.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, I will take my water skin and pour water into the basin.
All right. It probably takes about half of your water skin to fill up, a good decent amount. Yeah.
4.
As you can see, like you're looking at it really closely. The face is hidden. It's just a very typical kind of cloaked figure look. It's even hard for you in the light to pick out the symbols on the back, Kaimana, but you kind of are trusting Source's description of what you're seeing there, but you don't pick up on any new information about it.
I would not keep this Soros. Big kapu coming off this one.
Well, I think we should get someone with more knowledge to. On one hand, I could see putting it back in the water in the middle, in the position where I found it. On the other hand, I could also see whoever crushed the basin then setting this here as some kind of symbol, and so that may be a bad idea. So I'm not sure which way to go. Does anybody have any input?
Just put it anywhere not here.
Yes, if this is a place of worship, we should leave it intact. We have
It's too late for that now.
we have repaired it. I believe we've done our job.
I will put it back in the basin.
Okay. So you leave it behind, and in your head, you've got this clear symbol of like this figure now kind of sitting in the water, and it's lighter wood, so it actually kind of just like pops up and is now floating on top of the basin of water a little bit, and it's just kind of left floating there. And it kind of rotates over to the heavier side is down, and now very clearly it's those partial, like erased symbols of the eight gods.
I really want to take this and carve the rest of the symbols back into it.
Can I make like a religion check on this thing to like figure out like why it would be like half the symbols or something like that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because once again, it's like, was this marred along with the basin, and therefore it needs to be restored?
Christ.
Or
24 on my religion check. I didn't realize my religion was really good.
You paid attention somewhere. I don't know if anybody in your past life is
I
religious.
was good in school. I was so good.
You dated a
You know
nun.
enough more. You know enough, Mar, to know that the religious iconography of the eight never involves a humanized caricature. The stories of the
Okay.
8 are that they often did take humanoid forms. Like, for example, that like Suvanar is famous for having taken the form of this really elegant looking Triton figure and swimming through the oceans.
Mhm.
But any like representations of the 8 were always their elemental entities. So like Suvanar's symbol is a crashing wave for most people. And so to see a symbol of a human in the center of a place of worship for the 8 gods is definitely completely out of place.
Hmm.
Maybe we shouldn't leave it floating here in the basin.
I would take that out.
Yes,
I
if
think
this is
there's something wrong
disrespecting
with
the religion, we should
We can
not
take
leave
it
it.
back to town and see if anybody knows anything more about it. So I fish it back out of the water and now have a damp wooden figurine.
You have a damp wooden figurine of a man in a cloak.
Okay.
All right, and then you all continue on your trip back into Ipswich.
Yes.
Yes, let us continue our journey.
All right, so it doesn't take too much longer. You kind of come down in a little hill and go around a little gully and come up again. And the river had swung wide at one point away from the road, but is now coming close. And you see the Ipswich there's a mill in Ipswich, and then there you can kind of see a hill that's on the backside that the river runs along. That they're using aquifers of water. And you don't know what they're for, but they're coming out of that hill and running down the side of the river towards the town area. And the Roland did explain that this was kind of like a mining outpost in the Riverlands, and so you might assume that that's that. And you come in, and it's a very simple town. There's just 10 or 15 buildings. There's a few homes. There's a storefront. There's you don't even recognize anything as an outpost for the watchmen at all, but you're sure that there are some representatives of the law and order somewhere present in the town. There's a few lanterns hanging at the kind of the front entrance as the road crosses through, and then there's the kind of the central thoroughfare that heads in there. And on the left as you enter, there is a building that has a sign that says the Rusty Nail, and it has like a symbol of like 2 tankards like clasping together, painted on the sign with it.
Where should we deliver the supplies to?
What were our instructions?
Joss did say that the mayor was expecting the delivery, so.
Say we check the inn and find out where the mayor is.
Okay.
It's a good plan.
All right, so you park the cart there and tie off the mayor, and then not the mayor. You tie the mayor off, and then you head off.
M-A-R-E.
We tie up the
M-A-R-E.
mayor.
It's the
Kinky.
problem with accents. The mayor and the mayor.
The horse.
You
The
head
whole
in.
time the horse was running the whole
Uh,
show.
As soon as you open the door, the town was quiet and kind of desolate. But as soon as you open the door to this place, there's music coming. There's a small little kind of not a player piano, but like a piano in the corner. And there's a little kind of an older man with gray hair who's just kind of pecking out a song on the piano. And there's 5 or 6 tables in here, and about 3 of them have patrons at them. And it looks like maybe miners or local townspeople are kind of spending their evening getting some drink. And there's a counter where there's a bartender kind of wiping down the counter, this bigger kind of dwarven fellow with a big beard, and then there's a half-elven man kind of walking around from table to table taking orders from people and getting drinks and things.
Should we ask the server if he knows where to find the mayor?
Okay, so you kind of wave him over, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll grab a table. I'll be right with you."
No, I was asking the group, but yeah.
He knows how to read a
Maybe-
crowd.
Should one of us stay and watch the cart?
Yeah, I'll watch the cart, and I
Right.
very quickly get out of the establishment.
Before Kaimana even finishes the
That's
question,
smart.
the door is like swinging
We're
closed
just
behind him.
waiting for a chance to get out of here.
All right, so Mari, you're watching the cart. So now the 4 of you are in there. Do you go ahead and grab a table?
Yes, we sit at a table.
Okay, so you sit at a table, and the guy kind of goes around, and you see him like pick up some empty tankards, and then he drops off a couple loaded ones, and he finally gets after a few minutes he gets over to you, and he's like, "All right, yeah, what can I get you?"
The mayor.
The mayor.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, we
you're
have
looking.
a delivery.
Oh, you're looking for the mayor. Well, well, you just missed him. He was here. I imagine that he's gone home now. But his house is towards the center of town. You can't really miss it. It's the only house that's got paint on it.
Oh, well, thank you. And I get up and
Yep.
leave.
Okay.
But I leave a silver on the table.
Oh, well, I mean, he kind of takes it and pockets it. And
Very
says, "Well, thank
generous of you.
you." And so you all head out.
Yes, we
Yep.
head back to the cart and
Okay.
inform Mar.
All right, so you guys are heading back into town, and it's not a large town, and so as you're coming through, you do notice that there is one building kind of further up that is painted kind of a light blue color, and all the other houses are just natural wood.
I'm gonna lean over to like Mar and be like, "That's the mayor's house."
Oh, thank you.
Are there any lights on in the home or?
Yeah, you can see there's a couple lights on the front patio, just kind of general lantern light, and then there is some light bleed from one of the downstairs rooms. It's not too late; it's probably like 7 o'clock at night or so at this point.
I
All right,
say,
you
Knock on the
open it,
door.
and the door kind of
I
open a
knock on
little
the
bit.
door and then step aside so that Abel and Wash are there instead. So he's not greeted by a giant white rat
No,
with an eye
just
patch.
an indigo dragon. So there you go. And so the door creaks
Dragon
open,
door.
and there's this kind of woman standing there, and she kind of peeks out a little bit, and then she opens a little bit more, and she's like, "Yes, can I help you?"
I say, hello, Mayor. We are here to deliver the supplies from your neighboring town.
You're delivering supplies from Broadfield.
Yes, we are.
Oh, very good. And she kind of turns and she says, "Honey, I've got to take care of some business. I'll be right back." And then you hear kind of another woman's voice in the background call, "Well, dinner will be waiting for you." And she kind of closes the door and she kind of heads out. And she's like, "Oh, all right." So, and then do you want to go ahead and take me to the cart and show me what you got, and we'll kind of settle out the duty there.
I take the kobold out of the cart and just kind of hold him.
You mean the knoll?
So
Yeah,
you pull the
that.
knoll.
Yeah.
The knoll, which is probably the same size as you, but you kind of pull it to the side and like you're
Yeah,
hiding.
I'm
behind
just
the
kind of
cart with
like have him over my shoulder, kind of.
it. Okay, so
Are you standing behind him and we end up burning it? Like,
No, I put this out in the open. Like, this is fine.
so she kind of comes out and she's looking at the cart, and then she kind of looks around and she sees you, and she's like, "Oh my God, what is
Oh,
that? Is that
We
a?"
got you. The person wrecking up your deliveries. So you're welcome.
She kind of
There were
peeks
3
around.
of them.
She goes around and she's looking and she's like, "No, no wonder we weren't getting any deliveries, but there were only 3 of them."
Yes,
we are
we
Totally fine.
suspected there may be more, which is why we kept this one alive, so that someone who speaks Nolish may be able to quiz him and find out more about the rest of his clan.
Oh, it's alive. And she kind of pokes it a little bit and
I
then
wouldn't-
realizes that it's
no.
breathing, and she kind of backs up and she's like, I don't know anybody who speaks Nolish. Do any of you speak Nolish?
I do.
Nope.
not yet.
Well, I appreciate it. Perhaps I can get the lawmaster and we can lock it up, I suppose.
Well, either that, or we could take it back to Broadfield and quiz it there.
Oh,
But if you had
yes.
anybody, we didn't know who your residents were and what skills they may have.
If you would
Are there
love to
any-
take the knoll back with you, that would be fine. Yes.
There are no
Uh,
magic users in your town who can read his mind.
No. We are mostly hard workers who
Small
toil in the soil and in the mine. We don't have a lot of magic or people from wide-ranging places around here.
That is
But then she goes and she's looking at the card and she's kind of going, "Oh, this is great." She's kind of going through and counting like the tools that were being delivered and the amount of food that's being delivered, and she's like, "Well, this almost makes up for the last three shipments that weren't received. So this is very, very kind of you. Thank you. But you said there are only three of them. That's definitely. I don't know if we're in the clear, but at least we got these resources for sure."
And they said something about taking mine. They said something about bringing something back in the cart. So, how soon can we unpack this and repack it for the return
Oh,
trip?
well, I suspect that if they're looking for a shipment from the mine, we can probably unload everything and then have it reloaded. And perhaps if you by first thing in the morning, you could head out in the morning.
That would be excellent.
Yes.
And she kind of reaches back behind and she pulls out a little pouch, and she kind of fishes around and she says, I think that the reward was 50 gold. So she hands over 50 gold pieces for your completion of the task. And she says, and as a bonus, I'll walk with you to the Rusty Nail and we'll make sure that you can get rooms for the evening.
Is there a place where you could stash the null overnight until we could take him with us in the morning?
Yes, if you just want to put him back on the cart.
Yeah, no, my arms are shaking.
She kind of sees the car sitting there. If you put him back, I'll grab the lawmaster. He's usually at the Rusty Nail at this hour of night anyway, so I can grab him and he can deposit him in the holding cells.
Thank you.
All right, so she leads you guys back. Like it's a short walk over to where the Rusty Nail is, and when you go back in, they're all like, "Oh, it's the mayor. You coming to have a drink?" And she's like, "No, it's official business." And she finds the lawmaster who's not wearing any kind of uniform at all, and she's like, there's something that needs to be taken to the cells. It's on the cot next to my house." The lawmaster kind of grumbles and stands up and heads out, and then she goes over and she's kind of pulls Abel in and Wash, who were the first two that she saw, and she kind of walks you over to the front, kind of the bartending area, and she says, Doran, these two are going to be staying here, or these group of people are going to be staying here for this evening. Could you get them a couple rooms? And the bartender is like, "Well, I think I've got 3 rooms I can give up for the evening. It's on your coin there, Mayor." And the mayor says, I've got it. And then she says, "Excuse me, I've got to get back to dinner, but I think that will take care of everything. Do you have anything else that you all need for the evening?"
A beer.
Oh, well, I don't. The bartender can absolutely get you the beer. So yes, that'll go there. Are you old enough to, anyway, it's not my concern.
I'm 11.
And okay. But if there's nothing else, thank you all so much. And I'll meet you first thing in the morning and hand off that cart with the delivery back for Broadfield. And I appreciate all that you've done for the town. Hopefully the path will be clear now.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. And so she kind of heads out and leaves.
Divide up the gold.
Yes. So it was
Okay.
50 gold. That should be
10 each.
10 a piece.
You also got gold from the Knolls as well.
Yeah, I'm keeping that. I have a plan for it. But since I looted the bodies, I'm just keeping it.
Currency, yeah.
And come out, are you trying to get a beer?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
want
you
to
do
lean
that.
in and whisper to, "Hey, can you give me a beer? Give me a beer too?"
So
yeah,
Kabata,
I'll
probably a little too
get him.
short.
Yeah.
So you're trying to like jump up and like get noticed on the bar, and eventually the dwarf does look up, and he just sees like these little paws, like up on top of the bar, and he glances over, and he's like, "Hey, you're a strange little one. What can I do for you?"
Two beers, please.
2 beers. Okay, coming right up. And he goes off, and he's apparently is unconcerned at your young appearance. And he brings out 2 beers, and he says, "Well, that'll be 2 copper pieces.
I will pay him that with. I will also throw in an additional 2 copper as just a gratuity.
Okay, and so he kind of takes those and puts them in a little pouch to his side, and he says, "All right, thank you."
Thank you. And like walk back. I'll pass you your beer, Wash.
I joined them at the table.
Okay.
Yes. Abel will join them as well, and I'll wave Mar over to come.
So you all pull up a table there in the Rusty Nail.
So I'm just kind of looking around the room, just getting a feel for everyone, seeing if there are any interesting characters in a tavern that I don't spend a lot of time in.
Yeah, they're all sitting at this table.
Yeah, you can just roll a general perception check as you're scanning around the room there.
Insight check on the musician. Is he like a hired entertainer, or is he just a local who's playing the piano because he's bored?
So yeah, you can roll an insight check as well. So perception
Is it
check for
open
you.
mic? Is
Yeah.
what we need to know.
Yeah.
Can we get Wash Bjorn up there?
I rolled an 8 perceptions.
An 8 perception. I mean, you're kind of glancing around. You don't get on anything, but there's like 5 or 6 people around. There's one guy who's kind of at a table by himself. It just looks like he's like drowning his sorrows in a large tankard. But then there's just a couple others, and they're all kind of dirty. And you know, but the only other one who's kind of relatively interesting is the man playing the piano. And what was your insight check there?
9.
9. You can't really get a read, but as you're sitting there, you do notice that the server kind of walks over, grabs an empty tankard from the top of the thing, and places 2 more up on top, and then walks away. And so you don't know, is he playing for pay, or is he just a drunkard who found the piano and is just, there you go. So
How well is his playing?
it's a little discordant. It has a melody, but it seems to go minor when it should go major a few times, and it's a little kind of off key, but you're not sure if it's the quality of the instrument or the quality of the playing.
I start scratching my scales on my head slowly with one hand and drinking the beer with the other.
And it's not good beer either. So
Caustic.
Like, there's not Davy still in the Navy, like right by the piano man, is there?
I'll go over at Wash and I'll just say, like, you probably could do better than he is right now.
I automatically get up and just sit next to the guy. I don't do anything. I just sit next to the dude on the piano, and I sort of lean over and say, "First time."
He stopped playing for a moment, and he like kind of looks over, and you can see now like just this bleary look in his eyes, and he just is like can't get a good look on you. It is just like, are you jogging?
I want to put my hand on his shoulder and be like, "Shh, it's okay." And kind of like as I'm slowly trying to push him off the.
He slides along the
Yes.
bench, and he's just like, yeah. And he gets to the edge and just clumps down onto the other side and just lays there. He's kind of just laid out next to the bench now, and the bench is yours.
I do my cloak, you know how to sit down and pull the mask down a little bit, crack my fingers, and start to play.
All right.
I am proficient in it. Also,
Well, yeah, you're proficient in piano, so go ahead and roll a performance check.
14.
What was that?
14.
14. So there's a definite improvement. There's fewer discordant melodies and things, but you do notice like, well, this upper C key is definitely sticking, and when you hit it, there's like 5 other keys that go down inexplicably, and so you're trying to kind of work with it. It's not your best work, but it's definitely an improvement over what was playing before.
Do I recognize the tune?
Is it a Wash original? Wash?
No, actually, it's the tune from my original town. The tune that's close to my heart.
then probably in your travels, no, you would not have come across this one, Saurus.
Is basically I'm
She wants to
looking
play.
to join in with my piccolo. Is there some kind of melody that I can kind of pick up on that I could join in as just a complimentary? Him taking lead, but kind of basically, can I like lay down the bass line while he's doing the
Wash is so
Yeah, let's see.
for that. Just letting you know.
Yeah, see if you can like roll a performance check there, Rob, to see if like you can pick up and kind of jazz it out a little bit with it.
and I am proficient with the piccolo.
Uh-oh.
And of course, in my either roll low or roll high, I have rolled high. And so that is a dirty 20.
Very nice. So,
Nice.
so as Wash is kind of picking out this kind of this, it's almost it feels kind of almost like a march, like what somebody would play, kind of like to guide people, like walking together or something, or doing something, some kind of action together. And you're playing this, and then you pick up, and these high like piccolo notes start kind of wafting in with it, and you start gathering the attention of the other people, the other patrons in the bar, and the guy that you knocked off the bench kind of just sits up for a moment. He's kind of listening in, and they all seem to be paying much more attention to the music than they were when it was just the drunk guy at the piano.
All my disgruntledness that came from the messed up key, I make contact with Sarah, so you could tell it's a happier moment I'm used to, and just yes, yes.
And I'm just sitting at the table playing my piccolo.
There you
Nice.
go.
I'm just drinking beer, enjoying it. I worked hard today. I pulled a cart for a mile.
I guess I'll lean into Mar and oh my goodness, my little otter friend, and I'll say, I think job today. We worked well as a team. No.
Yeah, surprisingly for our origin story, this turned out a lot better than I expected.
You seem to doubt the Ticket Takers Club.
I am just concerned if perhaps there are more gnolls out there. There were a lot of supplies that went missing. I don't know if they have a tribe or a clan that they are stealing these supplies for.
I imagine we might see more on the way back.
Sure.
We will be ready.
And with the sound of music playing in the background, with Wash dramatically performing in his mask, and Source performing along with the piccolo, and a group that formed just a few hours before, but has kind of coalesced into something of a club, apparently. We'll go ahead and finish up the first session of casting roles. So thanks all for tuning in. We'll see you all next time for sure.
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
Some champagne.
Bye.
Bye.
Take those
Cheers.
tickets.
Take those tickets.